Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We will be on right after this song.
Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Gutter boy was treated shitty, running, flying, need no pity. Family life was blowing up, not enough for my cup. Trying only to look up, even as a baby I knew what's up. Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Gutter boy was treated shitty, running, flying, need no pity. Family life was blowing up, not enough for my cup. Trying only to look up, even as a baby I knew what's up. Ran away for college, trying to obtain that knowledge. For a baby boy Thomas to know himself as flawless. I was growing up in bondage to a redneck mind unpolished. Locked it up like a hostage cause I was constantly admonished by my family, by my friends. I'm the weird kid yet again. Piss me off and I demolish you. Nothing but the honest truth. It will just astonish you. Put you in a lock or two. Only keep a couple few people close to me, but who? That is for me, not you. But please know that I love you too. Keep you in my heart and mind, and I will always root for you. Succeed and love your life. Even get a husband, wife. Just here to make art for the soul, express my strife. But if I find a goddess, then I gotta be honest. I'll give them my entire heart. No need for being modest. All these thoughts driving through this town. It's honestly ironic. When I left at 18, said I'm never coming back, I promise. Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Ghetto boy was treated shitty, running, crying, need no pity. Moved on back, I'm stuck here now, hoping things and change, but wow. Post-storm leaders made a vow, then lie and steal and stay highbrow. Trying to get out the city, born up in the nitty gritty. Ghetto boy was treated shitty, running, crying, need no pity. Moved on back, I'm stuck here now, hoping things and change, but wow. Post-storm leaders made a vow, then lie and steal and stay highbrow. Panama City politicians always clown. After Hurricane Michael, they left us all to drown. 5 million stole from FEMA, yeah, they thought they'd get a crown. Good old boy syndrome is the only party in this town. Kick them out of office, tear the entire system down. Charge $500 a month with wires, lay up on the fracking ground. No power, no phone, but we paying for it anyway. Set they ass on fire, profits over people is the way. Burn them all down, take our money back, let them pray. Feed them to the fishes and the sharks up in the bay. Take this fight national, those phonies always stray from doing what the people want. They just look to prey on our fears and feed us lies through propaganda every day. Set us against each other so that we just fray and weaken our defenses. Yes, this is their play, so vote them out of office and please don't forget to spay.
This is Thomas Reddick reminding you to please spay and neuter your politicians by voting them out of office and petitioning for term limits in the Senate and Congress. God bless America.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do it live again, ladies and gentlemen, because why not? Welcome to the shop of Anonymous. I swear I don't want anything to do with this. I promise that you hear me screaming from the top. I'm dropping knowledge. Is a bearer's too far gone for a rookie, so I'm calling this game over for you chumps. The grind is all I know and do. Breathing fire like a dragon's Lord, green power coming through. Yeah, I'm working 3 jobs so that I can fracking that crew. That money you dummy, I'm finna honey again. Take that love from me. Going to the future and never coming back. Marty McFly, not more like his dad. Trying to be calm, all this news is just whack. Propaganda flying, so now everybody mad. Empathy is gone, so we all for attack. If you disagree, you just stupid and sad. Use intolerance, or must be smoking crack. Ignorance is bliss, y'all just to die, yeah. Two sides of the same coin, killer. Why we ever stop living up for pillows? Acting like everything in life must be a thriller. We living in a world written by Frank Miller, cause the Dark Knight's return. So now we turn. See our heroes messed up and now we spurn them because they piss us off and now we burn. Thicker is the lives to the ground cause we yearn to be in their position so that we'd earn millions and millions and millions. But the weed turn into the very thing we hate. Now we revert and we refer to the lines that we rehearse. Spread love and forgiveness only to see deeper. Distract myself from the world. Water, earth, fire, air, swirl. Bend it to your will, then hurl. Flying buffalo, why don't you give it a whirl? Grab a saber, then just twirl. Force cut a pair, give her a pearl. Power unleashes a churl. Join the dark side. Yes, it's time I get back to work. Captain of my own enterprise, call me Kirk. Anger and depression always seem to lurk around every corner, so I write this just a perk. Everybody mood up, cause we screwed up. Living in a country where we shoot up. Anybody disagree, just to move up the food chain where you groove up. Otherwise they beat you down cause you used up. Time to boot up, new mindset program. Think you knew us, but you shoe us. You only care about us to subdue us, just to screw us. Living in a country full of Judas. Step you in the back, you would say you're Brutus. Calling Lucius, bringing out the dark night. Now we tuned up, time to scoop up any positivity while the masses are left clueless. They can only kiss your speed, miss the new ones. Opportunists, leave them naked in the ground, talking ruthless. I am ruthless, visions full of kid grown ghoulish, broken ruthless. Spitting proverbs like Confucius, Kami, Tommy, Toretta, Kenosha, Thomas.
Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 44. Holy shit. Of Lights, Thunder, Action, where every week we discuss all things DC, Marvel, Star Wars, and the latest happenings in the entertainment industry. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, aka the son of Dale.
My name's David Thompson, and today we've got a packed show for you guys. The news week really took off, including a Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer that we got to witness at the Super Bowl. There was a full trailer for the upcoming Falcon Winter Soldier Disney Plus show. Can't wait to discuss that.
It was so hype.
I agree. It was really good. And Tom Holland discussing the rumors around Spider-Man 3, Homecoming 3, whatever you want to call it. He's got some quotes on that, some denials, some little teases. We've got that. Also, a rumor report coming out that Keanu Reeves may be being casted as Kraven the Hunter in an upcoming solo film for Sony. That's a bit to unpack there. And then finally,
get ready for a lot of that one, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, continue.
And then the final bit of news that just came out last night. That's just I don't know what's a good way of putting this. Sending a shockwave around the galaxy is Gina Carano is out as Cara Dune in The Mandalorian. We're going to get to all of that in just 1 minute, and then of course, finally, we will be discussing WandaVision. We will be talking a bit about episode 5 that happened last week, and especially previewing episode 6 that happens tonight, essentially, or tomorrow. Very early tomorrow morning. So tomorrow for most of us, WandaVision episode 6. We're going to preview all that, get into all the nitty-gritty and the fan stories and all that good stuff. But before any of that, Thomas, how you doing today, bud?
Weirdy all day. I love having a soundboard, man. There is so much fun with it. I'm good, man. I'm alive. You know, some days that's the best we can say. Some days it's the worst we can say. We're here. We've made it to Thursday, of course, where the thunder is being brought.
Yeah,
a lot more lightning than thunder. Check out the news section. I'm good, man. I basically had 2 days off for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
I spent yesterday just chilling, man. I woke up and I was like, I have so much to do, and I honestly just hopped on Madden because I've worked 9 straight days since I got back into town. Traveling is basically its own job. Yeah, and then I worked like 6 or 7 straight days before that, so it's been okay. It's been a while.
Busy man.
Yeah, man.
But hey, we're here.
So, yeah, man, we're here. David, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Working as well, but it's fine. I'm honestly, just me as a person. I get so excited about the news when it comes out and talk about the news. So I'm very excited to dive into that. Very excited for WandaVision as well, but just setting up our show notes for today, getting all the news laid out. Very exciting. And yeah, it's February. It's I'm wearing this hoodie just because I like it, but it's actually getting really warm up here like the last couple of days, and I already missed kind of the chilly weather. But Florida can be up and down when it comes to that, especially in like changing into spring. I hope we'll get some cooler days coming up soon. But before any of that, should I start with what I've been watching lately, or shall you? Up to you.
You.
I'll start. Okay. First off, last Sunday, of course, I'm sure all of you are watching. Maybe not all of you, but some of you. The Super Bowl. It's normally the most watched television program of the entire year. It was between the Chiefs and the Bucs.
Liar! It is pronounced the Superb Owl Game. Okay.
Oh, pardon me. Super Bowl was on. Bucs Chiefs. Thought it was gonna be a lot better of a game, but the Bucs kind of dominated. And congrats to. I would love to deny it. In my heart, Peyton Manning will always be the GOAT. But Tom Brady, the GOAT, winning his 7th championship. I used to hate Tom Brady with every fiber of my being. If I watch old highlights, I will as well. But nowadays, I've definitely grown a soft spot for him because he's just so undeniably like.
He's been around most of your life.
Like all of my life. Peyton Manning was actually drafted like 2 months before I was born. So he was my entire life. But anyway, yeah, Bucs won. Congrats to them. Congrats to Tom Brady. 7th ring. It's just historic. Now it's getting to the point where you can't even compare him to other football players. It's like, all right, the greatest athletes of all time. Like that's where Tom Brady is. So anyway, there was that. I beat Miles Morales finally, my PS5. So if you're for those that don't know, I finally got my PS5, which was a miracle, amazing. And finally, I waited. I had the Miles Morales Insomniac game for the PlayStation 4. I decided I'm going to wait until I get my PS5 to play through it. And I'm so glad I did because it plays beautifully. It looks fantastic. It's so smooth. I absolutely loved the game. And yeah, I finally beat all of it. I'm trying to 100% it now, just going around doing the other little missions and all those sorts of things. But a blast of a game. And honestly, I got back into a DLC that I never played for the original after I initially beat the story mode for Miles Morales. And going back and forth, there's an argument that Miles Morales is actually a better game than the original PS4 Spider-Man, just because and it's not even like a shot at the original game. It's just because, first off, Miles' abilities are a bit more cool to use, for lack of a better word, in fighting and just in the story. Like it adds a different element, like his Venom powers and stuff. That's what they call them. And then being able to like cloak and go invisible and stuff like that. It adds a whole new element that Peter doesn't have. And I just think Insomniac, and especially playing on the PS5, Insomniac really just improved everywhere they could when it comes to the fluidity of swinging and fighting and all that stuff. And even just the style. What's really cool is that going from the PS4 Spider-Man and then playing Miles Morales, kind of going back and forth a couple times, you can feel how they nail how they feel different. Like Miles feels lighter and like not weaker, but not as strong. Like Peter feels heavier and stronger when he's swinging, and Miles feels lighter and more fluid, while Peter just feels stronger and more kind of structured. It's amazing how you can even sense the difference between the two just swinging around, but you really can, which is really, kudos to Insomniac. They're building something. Honestly, like, forget everything else. I'd get a PS5, PS4 just for like the Insomniac Spider-Man games coming out, because you can't get them on an Xbox. And they are amazing if you're a Spider-Man fan. Like they're building to something fantastic, and I cannot wait. 2 more things I've been watching. Mindhunter, which is a Netflix show. I'm watching my girlfriend Jasmine. It's really good. I'm normally not into those kinds of like killer shows, like Criminal Minds and all that. And she was saying, she's like, "Oh, you like Criminal Minds?" I'm like, "No, we've watched a few episodes before." But the thing is with Mindhunter, it's really well made. You can tell there's a lot of money put into it. I mean, it's a Netflix show. It's just a bit more thoughtful than the killer of the week and go around. Like, no, it's a really intriguing story. And I'm not even one that's, like I said, into this sort of genre typically, but the show needs zero action and zero like cops, like, I don't know, like a hostage situation for the show to be intriguing at all. It's just based on they're basically, what's so cool about it is they're basically like discovering what serial killers are, because the show's based in the 70s. And it's funny because they don't know that like the phrase serial killers hasn't even been invented yet. So it's really fascinating to see them like interviewing these people and discovering like, oh, this is like, you know, this could be something. This could be something more than just what we think, like just some random guy killing people for no reason. It's super interesting. We're only like a little bit over halfway through the first season. There's 2 seasons, and I'm already super into it. But anyway, that's down. The last thing is Attack on Titan, which is an anime show. I'm finishing up season 1 right now. There's 3 seasons, and the 4th season is coming out right now. My friend's been on me to watch it forever, and it's really good. I'm not even a big anime guy typically. I don't really watch anime, but I really, really enjoy Attack on Titan. It's a really good show. And there's this specific, it's called OPM gear, Thomas, and they use it to swing like from buildings and trees, and it's very Spider-Man like. That, I mean, among the storytelling and everything else, that really just gets me. So
that ropes you in, you know. It webs you in, I should say.
So it doesn't feel like I've honestly been playing more video games than I've been like watching stuff, but it feels like I've been watching a bit. Thomas, what have you been watching?
Because all things in life are football, I've been watching NFL Live. I just got to say I'm very depressed because the other day, the NFL Live episode did not get posted to the ESPN app. Disney, what the hell, man? You're taking away my drugs, bro. No. I've been watching NFL Live. Obviously, WandaVision. Just quick tease for WandaVision later, ladies and gents. Oh boy, do we have some questions for you? We have hard-hitting questions that we're going to put up on the screen, and hopefully you answer. I mean, obviously,
we will if you don't.
Spoiler alert, honestly, here's the question that everyone is thinking. Who is Evan Peters? We'll get there.
Spoiler alert.
Nice little tease for you there. It's been out almost an entire week.
Yeah.
Which is why we're dispensing with, we're going to just spoil everything for you like we always do. Let's not even
I have to delete the Twitter app for tomorrow morning. I have to set a reminder. I'm going to set a reminder on my phone to not go on Twitter or something. Or I'm going to move it off of my normal like folder or something because I cannot. Until I watch it. Like last week I got spoiled for what happened. I can't do it this week. I just can't. I refuse.
You need to learn it. It's crazy that I'm about to say this considering it's me. You need to learn some self-control, Dave.
I love Twitter. It's my favorite app. It's the one I interact with the most. That's why I say at the end of our show when we're plugging our stuff, follow me on Twitter. It's where I go to the most. It's what I like doing the most. Anyway, I had to stay off it before WandaVision because I've worked from like until like the afternoon, and I can't watch it till then. And a lot of people watch it at 3 a.m. Eastern time or whatever that time that is for them. Yeah. And so then, I wake up and 5 hours earlier, there's already spoilers on my feed. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, that's why I wake up and the first thing I do is eat some breakfast, turn on WandaVision.
That was me with the Mandalorian. That was our roles.
I'm waking up early tomorrow just so I can do yoga before I cook and watch WandaVision.
That's awesome. That's gonna be a good morning.
You got to think fourth dimensionally, man.
You got to, bro. Thank you for that. Back to the Future reference. I always appreciate this.
So really, I've been, I was pushing this off. I watched Captain Marvel, just because I needed to watch something Marvel related. I was feeling it. I was sad. I was tired. I was exhausted, etc., etc. And I threw on Captain Marvel, and god damn, I love that movie, man. It's just so fun. It's just a lot of fun. It's Brie Larson, birthday body, kicking ass the whole time. You got Lieutenant Trouble, who is the best part of the movie, always was. It's like
Monica Rambeau.
It's like that little girl got a swagger, and lo and behold, so does her adult version. Which really brings these important questions that you don't even have it here. Oh, that's good. I was about to pop it up. Anyways. We'll hold you off on that. But really, the most important thing that I actually watched was I finished Legends of Tomorrow season 5 yesterday. I just took a day and I just did things that I loved. And there is an episode that a year ago at Pensacon, when the actors for it'll hit me in a second, John Constantine. And the actor that plays Nate Haywood, Haywood? Yeah, that's right. They both said that episode 14 of this upcoming season was the one where they're just like, this is the craziest thing we've ever done. Because if you don't watch the show, which David, honestly, out of all the CW shows, this is the one I pitch you to watch. Because
I know
it's freaking bonkers. Just start at season 3, because each season is its own story and they kind of loosely tie together. But like if you start in season 3, you get through the boring section, you get to where they're just weird every week. I also think season 3 was the George Lucas episode where they do all the Star Wars references, and then they do a Spielberg episode with all of the Spielberg references. It's amazing.
That's funny.
Well, this episode was essentially WandaVision before WandaVision. The episode is called The One Where We're Stuck in TV. And they start out with being in Friends, and they have a Star Trek. They have a Mr. Rogers Neighborhood. There's Downton Abbey. Like there's a lot of there's a lot of like genuine old shows. And as I'm watching it, I sent David videos. There are legitimate visual parallels to WandaVision multiple times.
Yeah.
Like they open a door and they see it's just static. And they use air. They use like air. It's an air totem, so one of them is able to utilize the power of wind, and she does her hand just like that, like Wanda was like, ooh, and it's like, yeah. They realize they're in a TV show. They know they need to break out, and they realize that they're stuck in a TV show because of some reason, and it's just so good. And then they get to the point where all of their memories are restored, and it's just tears, bro. Constant tears, because it's emotional setups that came from the previous season. Right? Like one character did a choice, and the choice they made root themselves out of existence the way they were. So they got stuck in the air totem. And then she's able to possess her body from the new timeline, because David, this is why I love the show, timelines are everywhere. It's literally time hopping through real history, and they have like a whole King Arthur episode, and like Guinevere is totally badass. Like it's so many good things. I cannot recommend this show enough. I love this show. It's my favorite show on saying it surpassed The Flash to become that. Highly recommend it. I'm saying it right now. I told David already, there's going to come a point we're going to have to make a bet. And my side, if I win the bet, David has to watch at least 3 episodes of Legends of Tomorrow that I will randomly pick for him. And one of them is definitely the one where we're stuck in TV, because he'll get all those references.
True.
Do you like Friends?
Yeah, I like Friends. All right.
Yeah, you'll totally get. I loosely understand Friends, and I'm like, haha, I know what that is.
Yeah. Friends is one of those shows I've never sat and watched seasons 1 through whatever and finished the whole thing, but it's a show that I've like probably seen half of the episodes, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense.
just like having it, like it's just on when you're anywhere or like at a family member's house.
I watched it growing up because it was on TV still when I was a child, David. So it's just like sometimes it's just like a nice little trip back to the 90s, and I'm like, oh, I remember this episode. But yeah, man, that Legend of Tomorrow, I love it, and I'm probably gonna start trying to crank out other DC CW shows as the new seasons come on. But we'll see what happens. I really wish I could listen to them sometimes instead of just having to watch. But you know what you can listen to, ladies and gentlemen?
Our audio podcast. And you can find our audio podcast, Lights Thunder Action, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and our hosting site, Spreaker. Check us out there. Leave us a review if you want. Follow, subscribe, give us those 5 stars, whatever you're feeling. Maybe a nice little comment. But hey, if you don't want to look at our ugly mugs, if you can't catch our live shows, if you don't want to watch the video later, if you're going on a run, if you're walking, if you're running, if you're doing all these sorts of things,
if you're pooping, check out our audio podcast. It's up there. Normally post them less than 48 hours after our live show goes up. So if you want to get to us quick, you're going to have to find us on Facebook or YouTube. And more on that, Thomas, what do you got for me? You can find Lights Thunder Action at any place ever on the history of the internet. What in the sun here? You can genuinely find us at linktree.com/LightsThunderAction, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces. You'll be able to find our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, our shop, everything. You can also find links to the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube, where every week we are live and in your house via our Facebook page also. So whether you want to watch it on the YouTube or you want to watch it on the Facebook Watch app on the internet, words. I got there eventually. Yes. We got there. Quickly, I think if you go to any of our socials, you'll find that Linktree app, or link, yes. I should say. So, hey, if you want to bounce from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram, it should be all there. So if you go to one, you can find them all. That's pretty much my point. Smart man over here. That's why he wears the cap. But, speaking of HWWS Web TV, before we hop into the news, let's go ahead and take a preview at today's entire show. Man, that turned out to be a lot smaller than I anticipated the font to be. Okay. Anyways, this morning at 9 a.m., the HWWS Web TV interview series Hanging with Web Show was live and on the internet. I'm doing terrible right now. Ted and Carl's cigar show, Cigars in Movies, was on at 11 a.m. If you want to go back and check that, by all means, please do. We're live now. Hey, huzzah, we've made it at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just join the Stupid O'Clock crew in random conversations at 9 Eastern, and then the Stupid After Show, where the conversation continues at 11 p.m. Eastern. And of course, this Saturday, our friends at Reels and Heels will be live at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Reels and Heels is a podcast that discusses movies, television, wrestling, and more. With a rotating guest list of friends and filmmakers alike, Reels and Heels salutes the creative arts of all kinds. Join Brian Winzeloff and Nicole Jobin live every Saturday at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Reels and Heels.
Inked Marketing provides solutions, marketing, and design, Kickstarters, branding, audience building, and comic shop platform. Why do some of the greats in the comic book industry turn to Inked when they want a successful Kickstarter campaign? Well, because of our devotion to their success by offering marketing solutions that exceeded their expectations and Kickstarter funding goal. Inked Marketing will help you develop your market placement. That's Inked Marketing at inked.marketing.
What the news?
It's time! David, where'd you go?
Oh, I don't know. Hello.
Why did you do that? Who hurt you? Who took you off the internet?
Technical things. Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with the Thunder News of the week. Of course, if you guys don't know, the Thunder News is where we sit back and kind of break down the news a bit more, and then we'll have a section of lightning news where we're going to go through it quicker and at a more lightning pace.
I'm so excited for this, David. I'm so excited.
First up,
yes.
I love the news. Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the first quarter of the Super Bowl, bang, 30-second spot, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Bucky and Falcon. Unbelievable. We're going to give it a look, right, Thomas?
Yes, we are. I'm getting it set up right now.
That's fine.
In the technology.
Yeah, no worries. I was just going to say my quick thoughts before we actually take a look at it live here together, everyone. I loved it. And it's funny. So I was sitting there, I was watching with some friends and my girlfriend Jasmine, and I've mentioned on the show before, she's really into WandaVision. And I've told her that, and she was looking at me confused. I've told her that, like, Falcon Winter Soldier, since Disney announced what Marvel shows were going on Disney Plus, this show has been my most anticipated, the one I'm most excited for, Falcon and Winter Soldier. And after the show played, or after the trailer played, she looks at me and she's like, "Are you seriously more excited for that than like WandaVision or Loki?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for it." I mean, I will say WandaVision and after the Loki trailer, those two have they definitely have risen in where my excitement level is compared to where it was before. Also, keep in mind, before, this was supposed to be our second time seeing, like, our second project of Phase 4. Yeah. I am more of a fan, I think, typically of a more grounded story. And if you think about it, it's really it's a continuation of Captain America's story. Like, it's really it's another sequel in the Captain America arc. It's not the Russo brothers, but it's really continuing a lot of those characters that we've seen in previous Captain America, shows. He's not in it, but it's continuing on that legacy and that story. And I think the action in this looks great. I'm more excited that it's only 6 episodes and longer episodes. That's how I prefer taking things in, either in that form or in the movie form, compared to like a WandaVision. But WandaVision's been fantastic. I'm not sitting here trying to crap on WandaVision, but I am very excited. This is only going to take 6 weeks to get through, not 9, and they're longer episodes. It's just
I'm trying to predict your and now.
Oh, they come in all the time. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. Thomas, want us to give this a look?
We're doing it. We're doing it live, folks. This is
Please talk glorious. Over it. First,
how loud is that?
So,
you can turn down a little bit.
Who would like to start?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. I love the fact that we open with a good old-fashioned just counseling session.
Yeah, and I like that it's continuing that. Like, their relationship seems really interesting to me, almost like an old married couple in a way, where they're just kind of like at each other, like they're kind of just annoyed of each other.
Yeah,
they're adversarial in a way, which is really great. But they care about each other, like deep down, that they are stuck together.
Now that's the line we got.
Emo.
He's just like, I thought my work was finished, but I cannot let superheroes leave.
So some of the shots in this, I loved that when Bucky catches it.
Me too.
So sick. Day after Snyder Cut.
I love this soundtrack for the trailer.
I think we're gonna get so many cool Falcon flying shots. You see that one shot that's like almost like Iron Man like, where you're seeing like the first person. I love that.
Sharon Carter laying waste. Love it.
U.S. agent. The fight scenes, I just cannot wait. Oh my goodness.
Hello, girl, kick your ass.
Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan are just looking like they're having a great time filming this.
Right? March 19th. I love this.
That wasn't so hard.
Are you ready? Is you ready?
What are you doing? Are you having a staring contest?
Are you ready? Is you ready?
Just blink. Sweet Jesus. How old are you?
There are a couple of little kids playing dress up. It's so funny. But genuinely, I cannot wait for this show. I think it looks great. I'm so interested to see. First off, now in the context of WandaVision, when this takes place is honestly one of those biggest questions right now, because we don't know in the MCU going forward, especially knowing how things have had to shift so much because of COVID and everything. But yeah, anyway, I am really excited for this. Thomas, what are your general thoughts? I kind of want to hear what you have to say.
I'm so excited. It definitely looks like it's going to end with him becoming Cap. Like, that's how it's being framed. They're being very cautious with dialogue, and they're focusing in this one with the relationship with Bucky and Falcon, which, is kind of what they focused on with Wanda and Vision for WandaVision. It's like, okay, it's the relation, because that's what people are coming for. They're not like they're coming for MCU, but they're also like, well, I care about these characters from these movies, so now I want to see something more with them. I'm very excited. I think the when is it set is going to be very important, and I feel like WandaVision is set when WandaVision is, for a very specific reason. That
WandaVision is very soon after Endgame.
Yeah, it's less than a month.
Yeah,
it's about the same amount of time between the end of Infinity War and the beginning of Endgame, right? It's like 21, 22 days.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So really, for her, it's been a wild
couple. It's been a wild month
Yeah.
for her.
Well, for her, because she dusted.
Because she got dusted. So like a month, everything goes from great to holy crap to now I'm alone in a place I don't actually even really know again.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be wild, man. And I got a feeling that
it has to. I will go on the record saying it definitely takes place after WandaVision.
Definitely takes place after WandaVision. I think it even takes potentially after Spider-Man Far From Home.
Really? That far in the distance? Okay.
I mean, really, it's only 9 months in the future, bro.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. Who knows?
Could be concurrently kind of thing, but it's really hard to say. You know, all I know is that I'm ready for it. Like this,
Me too, bro.
When it comes to Grounded, this is the one.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at the other MCU projects. None of them are. Not one is up. Maybe Hawkeye. Maybe. I mean, Hawkeye, I guess, would be the one. But this is really going to be grounded. And like I said, it's with characters we already know, introducing new elements, bringing up the Sokovia Accords again that had already been brought up in WandaVision. That's going to probably play a big-ish part in it. We know War Machine shows up because Don Cheadle confirmed that. So there's going to be this is going to be a big MCU project that's going to have a lot of tie-ins to old movies and hopefully future projects coming up in the future. But speaking of a Marvel project that may or may not be coming up, Sony owned, John Wick himself, Keanu Reeves, has reportedly, allegedly been offered the role of Kraven the Hunter. Which there's some stuff to dive into with this. Just thinking about Spider-Man 3, Kraven was very much so rumored to be the main villain in Spider-Man 3. Now with Spider-Man 3 and all this multiverse stuff, it's very unclear where that movie's going. Can't wait for a trailer or a name for Spider-Man 3. Foggy, MCU, anyone, please. But here we go. This is coming to us from the Illuminati, written by a coworker at the Direct who also writes for the Illuminati, Richard Nevins. And I'll read Richard's work right now. Sony's Spider-Man universe continues to grow as Keanu Reeves has officially been offered the role of Kraven the Hunter in his own solo film. While Marvel Studios continues to expand on their wildly successful Marvel Cinematic Universe, with the beginning of Phase 4, Sony Pictures is still working hard to build their own story with the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters. Remember that acronym? We haven't said that one in forever.
Spuckum.
Spuckum. After the unexpected success of 2018's Venom, monetary success. Plans are already in motion for major expansion over the coming years. The Illuminati, still reading Richard's article, we have received word that Sony has given an official offer to Hollywood megastar Keanu Reeves to star as Kraven the Hunter in his own Sony solo film. So like Morbius, like Venom, that kind of deal. The project is being referred to as simply Kraven at this time, according to our source. We were also given a description of the tone that the studio is shooting for. Our source described the tone of the movie as a mashup of Man on Fire and Logan, the X-Men film. Thomas.
Oh my God. Really?
That's what it says. That's what Richard wrote.
F-N-A cotton.
So, Thomas, Keanu Reeves is Kraven the Hunter in a solo film, not in Spider-Man 3 as a villain, but in a solo Sony film. Thomas, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Genuinely, if I am being real, I want it, and I don't want them to just tell me. I just want them to give it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
let's be honest here. Like, we don't, this is,
I find your lack of faith
awkward. I
disturbing.
forgot.
we don't know if this is really going to happen. Only some websites are running with this. Illuminati coming out with this, but they've been right about other stuff. They've also been, they've been right about stuff. So it's hard to tell if it's actually going to happen. This is definitely not a confirmation that he's going to be in it at all. To me, I read this more as like a rumor. It's a report, but it's not a confirmation of any sort. Am I down for this? Sure, but in all honesty, I want the MCU to be the mainstay for Spider-Man, and I'm hoping, it's been a year since the Morbius trailer came out with Vulture, with Michael Keaton in it as Vulture, Michael Keaton, and that huge tease as to what the hell that means and if they're crossing over, and we're still not gonna get answers on the Sony Marvel crossing over for like another year, because I guess maybe if they cross over a bit in Venom, but I'm not holding my breath on that. In all honesty, I'm not a huge fan of these two these two parallel universes going together, because it scares me that they might drag Spider-Man into it and just throw him back in this universe and have him dip from the MCU, which I do not want. But I mean, point blank, with that, just tunnel vision with none of that, push all that aside, Keanu Reeves as Kraven the Hunter, sign me up. Watching all the John Wick movies with my dad over winter break, I loved those movies. I mean, and he's so good in them. So, and he is a hunter in a lot of ways in those movies. So
He is.
on the surface, cool casting, right? I think it'd be pretty interesting, but I'm not the biggest fan of this growing Sonyverse. Especially they've only come out with one movie and it's Venom, and I didn't care for it too much. Tom Hardy's great, but I don't think the movie was all that good. I hope Marvel and Sony work together more, because I want to see Spider-Man in the MCU more. But anyway, is that it on that?
On Keanu Reeves?
Yeah,
Sounds about right.
Well,
Ladies and gentlemen, just get ready, because this one's, it's just whatever.
speaking of Spider-Man, that was kind of a warm up for these nice Tom Holland quotes that have come out over the last week. There's been two instances, one with Variety and one with Esquire magazine. Here's the first from Variety, right? So it was in a video interview. You can go watch it. You can go read it. Or Variety was asking him how things are going he was there for Cherry. But of course, you have Tom Holland in front of you on a Zoom call. You're going to ask him about Spider-Man 3. What are you doing? And he was asked about the rumors. Obviously, he's going to be asked about this until the day the movie comes out, probably, unless Marvel confirms it, which they probably never will. And I hope they don't. I hope Marvel never reveals anything about this until the movie theater. I hope in the trailers, it's like maybe loosely hinted at maybe like Doc Ock, because that seems very confirmed. Zendaya even mentioned how nice it's been working with I forget his name, Alfred Molina, thank you. How great it's been working with him. Anyway, here are the quotes from Tom Holland, and we've got a few of them. So here's the ones from Variety earlier in the week. There's some more recent ones with Esquire that I'm going to get to in one moment. Here are the first quotes. I never met Kristen Dunst. He's talking about how Kristen Dunst might return as MJ and all these certain things. I've met Andrew once, Andrew Garfield. I met him at the BAFTA, and he was lovely. We had a good chat, and it was quite soon after Spider-Man Homecoming had come out. He's really positive and nice. I bumped into Tobey a few times. Tobey Maguire, obviously. It's so cool. Oh, just the fact that these Spider-Men are just bumping into each other at parties and stuff, man. I mean, just as the Spider-Man nerd just makes me giddy. And a few times with different parties in LA. He was also really nice. They seem to be lovely, really nice people. And I hope they enjoy our movie. I hope they enjoy my Spider-Man. First quote. Next one. Beats me. I don't know if they are. He was directly asked if they are in the film. Holland replies, beats me. I don't know. If they are, they never told me. Variety Variety replied, it will be like they just show up and people will just be there. And Tomlin's like, that would be something that Marvel would do. I'd watch that film. So he's completely playing it off, being like, oh yeah, that'd be so cool. I'd watch that. But playing it off. I'm going to jump straight into the next quotes because they have a bit more meat to them. First off, I wanted to point out, I forgot to write this down. Esquire, this article, everyone go check this out. It's not a Spider-Man article. It's a Tom Holland article on Esquire.com, Esquire magazine. What was her name? Allie Jones, the writer for it. Beautiful job. Great questions. Really good, deep, long article where you get some interesting little tidbits on Tom Holland. We're going to another one of those later. But here are the quotes from Holland on specifically Spider-Man 3 rumors. He said, "I honestly have no idea what this film was about, and I'm 8 weeks into shooting." Play the button, Thomas.
Liar!
Thank you. I'll tell you why. Because months ago, he said he had written the script and said how amazing it was. And so he knows what's happening in the movie. But I get where he could be jokingly saying, oh, 8 weeks into shooting, you never know what's happening in these Marvel films because they just tell you to go one place and you film things out of order. But he knows what's happening.
And
and here we go. So he has no idea what's happening, right? And then there's
Liar!
later he's questioned specifically, are Garfield, is Maguire in the film? Are the Spider-Man returning in the film? He goes, no.
Liar!
No, they will not be appearing in the film. He said firmly.
Liar!
Unless they have hidden the most massive piece of information from me, which I think is too big of a secret for them to keep from me. But as of yet, no, it will be a continuation of the Spider-Man movies that we've been making. So Tom Holland, clearly Thomas thinks he's full of shit.
and
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Genuinely though, I don't know. I think Tom Holland, in all honesty, I don't know if this means they're in the film. It doesn't mean it definitely doesn't mean they are in the film. I just think Tom Holland has gotten a lot better at keeping his mouth shut. He's been trained. These are professional answers, and we have to dive deep just to see the little where he says stuff that doesn't quite add up. And it is there if you look hard enough. But in all honesty, Tom Holland's probably just trying. He's probably got his publicist down at just breathing down his neck, Feige on his phone. You cannot say anything. Don't give anything away because he's been known to give up things in the past. And that's just his personality. But I do think Holland, all things considered, who knows what's going to happen in this movie? He's keeping his mouth pretty shut, but there's certainly secrets. There are certainly secrets out there that he won't reveal. Isn't Maguire and Garfield? I don't know. I'm still shaky on that. Everyone else and their brothers seems to think they're going to show up in this film. I still don't know. It still seems like such a dream to me for that actually to happen. But Thomas, you saw these quotes from Holland over the last week.
Liar!
Is that your only thought?
Honestly, here's my thoughts.
Liar! 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 Liar!
Listen, great. I love the fact he's gotten professional. I love how he is swerving us. I love that to maintain the NDA, they're basically just lying to us. I don't actually love that.
Liar!
I actually do hate that.
Liar!
But I also think that if they are continuing if it's a continuation of the Spider-Man movies that they've been making, honestly, where do you go after? This is Peter Parker. He's Spider-Man. Where do you go? Where do you literally go?
That's a thing.
And it's supposed to tie in with Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah. I mean,
And then the WandaVision, and then
It's just well, perhaps, maybe, I don't know. There's no way. We were joking back and forth about Pietro, and I'm just going to throw this out. I was thinking, it'd be awesome if he were Peter. There's no way he's Peter unless WandaVision is taking place over a much longer time now, but there's no way because she was gone for a day or something like that. And then that's when Monica came back. So it's obviously set after WandaVision. Well, let's just say that I have this feeling that they pick up instantly from that moment. I really do.
Dude, I was going to say, I think, especially knowing the timeline of WandaVision, I think Far From Home, I think Spider-Man 3 picks up right after Far From Home. And from set photos of him in his black suit at the end, the black and red suit at the end of Spider-Man 3, or Spider-Man Far From Home, sorry. I am fully on board with that. I feel like Spider-Man movies historically, though, take place over, at least, not in the MCU, but previous Spider-Man films would take place over a long stretch of time. And I would love to get back to that. I feel like no movies in the MCU, like hardly in the MCU do movies do that, take place over like a long stretch of time in their confined movie. I love when movies do that. It gives you a little more meat to it, and just it can further out a story and give you more to happening. Sometimes it's not a good idea. Some of the best movies happen in like a day or two.
Infinity War.
Yeah, Infinity War. And then on the flip side of that, Endgame takes place over how many years? So, right? And that's a time jumping thing. So that's a whole different scenario. But I do think with the way they're building the MCU, it would be really rad. I like how I use the word rad there. I don't really say that often. It would be really rad if if they can use all these MCU projects and build that up to Far From Home and Spider-Man 3, because 8 months after Endgame, that's a good bit of time to do some storytelling where a lot of stuff's going to happen. Because I think I would be surprised at this point if Hawkeye, if Falcon Winter Soldier, Miss Marvel, if all those projects didn't happen in between Endgame and Far From Home. So I'm very excited. This movie could push things forward in a big way, and I do believe it takes place right after. And I think what a lot of people are missing, we're all getting sucked into this multiverse thing, which is a big deal, right? It's a big deal. This movie is mostly going to be I think where Holland is telling the truth is this movie is going to be a continuation 80% of Far From Home, not this like, it's not going to be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You know what I mean? Like all indications point that these multiversal things that are going to happen in like the final act. It's not going to be there the entire time. We'll see. We don't know anything, but all those rumors, especially with like the more confirmed ones that have been like by Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, like some of the big websites.
Yeah.
They've even indicated like, it'd be more of a cameo appearance and in the end of the movie. So I'm very excited. I am still don't know what's happening, and I'm still very dubious. Maguire and Garfield will show up, but these quotes, and especially you can tell that Holland's not fully telling the truth. He's been told not to, and obviously no one does in these. You can't just say the truth, obviously, but the reporters have to ask. We learn in school. You have to at least ask the question because you never know what they're going to say. Just like this. We're talking about some answers that pretty much say nothing for 30 minutes.
This is honestly where Marvel is about to go. I really think this is where Marvel is about to go because they said that Far From Home is going to kind of set you up for what we're about to do in the future, right? Well, yeah. What was the entire thing? This is what was happening in Far From Home.
Today, we will lie to you, and yet you will believe our little deceptions. Because human beings are easily fooled due to their limited understanding of the inner workings of the universe.
Right? It was a con movie. He was being conned the entire time from Jake Gyllenhaal, a.k.a. Quentin Beck, a.k.a. Mysterio, beautifully done in the MCU. And I think that, I think they did that multiverse thing, and I'm really getting this suspicion because you're like, it was a big fake out. And I'm like, it wasn't really that big of a fake out. And I have here's my final thing. I have a feeling that when WandaVision ends, we will then understand Far From Home totally differently. I have a feeling that, like if we just look at what they did with Spider-Man Far From Home, they snuck in J. Jonah Jameson and surprised us. And then we're also like, by the way, Peter Parker Spider-Man. Yeah. So it's like, whoa, they're going to hit us with something. Then they're going to swerve us. Then they're going to hit us with something we never see coming. Yeah. If we apply that to WandaVision and we apply what we already know of Far From Home, then we'll get there and eventually. But someone's being conned. Someone is doing something. And at the end of the day, we're going to get hit with a reveal that we never fathomed. And then it's going to lead to more questions, right? Everyone was like, how'd J. Jonah Jameson? Well, that could be J. Jonah Jameson from the other universe now. Like, legit could be. 9 months is a long time for some multiverse to get figured out. Yeah. I think if there is these cameos, I don't want to say that Spider-Man 3 will set up Doctor Strange.
It will in a way, I think.
I'm wondering if when the multiversal things happen, if the Spider-Man come to save Peter Parker, especially if it's like no, I'm Spider-Man, I'm Spider-Man, I'm Spider-Man, and it's kind of one of those I'm Spartacus situations, that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Then it's we're all Spider-Man and we're looking up to you to do the thing. But I think that if there's any real residual payoff for that, it might happen in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because obviously the multiverse has gone mad.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Feige did say at the investor meeting that Spider-Man does go right into Multiverse of Madness, same as WandaVision. So these 3 films are, or projects, I should say, because WandaVision's not a film.
Yeah,
they are connected, and I think that will be that is the connection point. I think is the multiverse, and we'll see. December, what is it, 18th or 19th when Spider-Man 3 comes out? Oh,
no
man.
idea.
You have no. I cannot wait. Anyway. Right along.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, read some ads. We got to pay our sponsors, If you would like to sponsor Light's Thunder Action, reach out to lightsthunderaction@gmail.com, and we will send you our prices and our package. That sounded way worse out loud than it did in my head. I'm sorry. Anyways, we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Thor, son of Dale, here to tell you about the Life of Thor Productions official shop, the only place where you can get your official merchandise for the Lights Thunder Action podcast and Life of Thor's Thor Watches series. Whether you want t-shirts, tanks, hoodies, mugs, and masks, Life of Thor Productions official shop has you covered. If you happen to recognize there's an item that you would like to buy that is not in the official shop, head over to the Light Thunder Action podcast or Life of Thor and request that item, because if you want it, we'll sell it. Just head to lotproductions.threadless.com/collections to get the item that calls out to you via the Force. Again, that is lotproductions.threadless.com/collections. Thank you, and have a Thortastic day.
Swords and Solace, third and final entry in the Swords and Sorrows trilogy. Clocking in at 37 pages, this entry nearly doubles the page count from previous entries. Rat, an assassin who wishes to earn his freedom from his oppressive guild, becomes a legend as he roams the land, cutting down every killer who dares to step in his path. In the conclusion to the trilogy, Rat learns that true peace isn't just something he needs to achieve himself, but it's something that must be taught to the next generation. Swords and Solace can be found on Kickstarter. It's almost done. The Listener is a series revolving around our main character, Addistan. He's a Native American soldier loosely based on Leslie Tebow, a Native American vet who fought and dealt with horrifying circumstance. Addie inherits the abilities of the Listener when his father dies, allowing him to see the dead, as well as other supernatural beings. We pepper in horror into the narrative of our story, a modern take on stories, myths, religion, and campfire tales. One of our biggest strengths as human beings is what sets us apart. The fact that our stories are buried in long forgotten truths. We're not writing superhero stories. We're depicting tales for a new generation. The Listener starts on Kickstarter and Indiegogo February 15th. Zombies! Ladies and gentlemen, Zombies, the movie, is looking for assistance with donations or shares. Zombies, the movie, is a classic sci-fi feature cheese fest written and directed by Alicia Marie and starring local talent from the Emerald Coast about, you guessed it, zombie bees. A small-town coroner has to team up with her ex-fiancé to save her town from a swarm of mutant honeybees. There's action, drama, humor, maybe even a flamethrower. Or two. There's definitely a ton of bad bee puns, there it is, and a very unlikely hero. Want to keep up with the buzz? Give the official Facebook a like and or follow and join the Honeybrick Road as we progress through production all the way until the official premiere. Zombies the movie! You'll see us soon. Keep up with the buzz. David! It's time for everyone's favorite segment.
What the news?
Lightning edition.
We got more news for you guys. We got to move quick on this one because we're already. Oh man, it's already been an hour, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and we haven't even touched
WandaVision. Yeah.
So, the first one up in lightning news, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fastest news segment of the entire world. Where I'm going to talk really fast, and then David's going to slow us down. Gina Carano, Carano Dune is no more. Gina Carano, this comes exclusively, this comes from the Hollywood Reporter, and it is quoting Lucasfilm at a certain point. Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media post denigrated people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. On Wednesday, Carano was trending on social media after The Mandalorian actor shared a post inferring that being Republican today is like being Jewish during the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Liar!
Yeah, sorry, kid. That's not how things work. It's not the first time Carano, who plays Cara Dune, has been the focus of social media for her political comments. Last November, she issued contentious tweets, one in which she mocked mask wearing amid the novel coronavirus pandemic, and another where she falsely suggested voter fraud occurred during the 2020 presidential election.
Okay. All right.
Let me just say my piece, because your piece is going to be way longer. I don't want anyone to ever get fired, but what you say and what you do will always have consequences. That is reality. That is how I feel.
Yeah, I don't really... Thank you, Thomas, for making this part of the lightning news. I figured if we made it thunder, this would just take forever if that was like the way we went about it. But lightning, we'll talk about this more down in the future, guys, especially with Mandalorian Season 3, whenever that comes out. This affects a lot of things for the future. She was probably going to be in Knights of the New Republic. She actually definitely was going to be. But this seems to be a classic case of 3 strikes
Rangers.
and you're out.
Sorry,
Rangers, I'm sorry. Sorry, I keep saying Knights. What? Yeah, Knights.
Rangers. I like that one better.
I know, right? It just sounds cool. Rangers of the New Republic. She was probably going to be in that. She was going to be in Mandalorian. They were setting this character up. All right. I mean, are you should you be fired for certain, for these comments? It's a private organization. People, I'm more of an advocate of the First Amendment than most people on earth because I studied journalism, and the First Amendment is the basis of a lot of things that I do and a lot of things I believe in with this country and all the sort of things. Right. Get that out of the way. Secondly, the flip side of that is she is employed by Disney and Lucasfilm, and you just can't go around. Like, when you are employed by a company like that and you're saying these comments for everyone to see, I'm a believer in free speech. She can say whatever she wants. I respect that. I understand that. But when you represent Star Wars now, Lucasfilm, Disney, and you're saying certain things, a line can be crossed. And especially, multiple different instances here, I guess I should say, where she's saying questionable things. And I think this was just the final straw. It broke the horse's back, or whatever that saying is. What is it? The straw that broke the horse's back or something? Anyway, I'm
gonna let you struggle because I know it.
Thank you. This was the final straw, let's just say it that way. And it is what it is. We'll talk about it more in context of Mandalorian, but the bottom line is the news that she's out. Cara Dune, maybe she'll be recasted, who knows, but
probably not.
I would rather not. I'd rather them just move forward with the story without her.
It's a big galaxy.
It is. And Gina Carano's out. It is what it is. Let's move on because this is the lightning news.
Yeah, and you're slowing me down. Sonic 2 has a trailer. And all it did was reveal this awesome title, which is obvious. And it's breathtaking and it's groundbreaking. Sonic 2.
With Tails.
The Life of Tails.
Yeah.
I added my own subtitle. I did. I did it because...
Lovely. I tweeted, "Give me Knuckles or give me death," because I love Knuckles in the little game in the Sonic games. What I suspect is that we could get Tails and then Knuckles in Sonic 3. But as you point out to me, Thomas, very interesting about this news topic is they haven't even begun filming it, and it's coming out in 2022. That's the other bit. We got the Sonic 2, but it's also coming out like
April of 2022.
Yeah, April 2022, which is relatively soon if you haven't started filming the actual movie. So anyway, I'm very excited. I enjoyed the first Sonic. It was one of the last movies I saw in theaters during 2020 before COVID hit.
Wow. Throwback.
Yeah, right. But I'm excited for this franchise to keep moving forward. Actually, a video game franchise that I have enjoyed, and I think they're on the right track with where they're going with this. And I think it'll even get more crazier. Thomas, moving right along.
Tom Holland doesn't want to wear the damn wig.
Liar!
Which I don't know why. It looks great.
Liar!
Do you like, really quick, for the people watching the show, can you tell I put a wig on his head in Photoshop? Awesome. All I got to say about this story is, all right, listen, I'm gonna wrap this up for everybody. I'm gonna use my one F-bomb here. My hair in Uncharted is much cooler. I have cool shaved sides and it's slick in the back. I don't know why I went Australian there to a minute. And that's not very Peter Parker. He's a bit of a loser. So they put this wig on me that was just around the sides. For the first time in my life, I put my foot down as the leading actor. I was like, I'm not fucking wearing that wig. I'm going to have shorter hair and you're going to just have to deal with it.
Yeah. So
that's the news.
The news is that Spider-Man may feature shorter hair than they would originally envisioned for this film. But it's a funny anecdote that Tom Holmes just basically put his foot down and said, no, I'm not wearing that dumb wig. My hair is what it is, and you have to deal with it. Moving along, Thomas.
Honestly, Peter Parker, Tom Holland he's not looking great in the news. He's really looking like
you are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor.
The Last of Us has cast the most important characters in the show of the game. This comes from Deadline, and one of the biggest TV castings of the year. The Mandalorian star Pedro Pascal is set to headline The Last of Us, HBO's high-profile series adaptation of Sony PlayStation franchise from Chernobyl creator Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. He will be playing Joel, and Bella Ramsey, better known as Jorah. Oh no, the bear. The bear, son of a bee sting. She was in Game of Thrones, and I now can't remember her actual name.
In Game of Thrones, she was
a Mormont. She was young Mormont. She was
like Lady Mormont.
Mormont. Yeah, that was all I needed. Lady Mormont. She's gonna be playing. Yeah, she's gonna kill it. She's gonna play Ellie. I'm hyped. I've never played the game. I've heard it's really depressing. So
yeah,
I don't know if I'm gonna watch the show.
I'll watch the show if I've played the games by then, and that's iffy. We'll see. That's why I put this in lightning news, because for a lot of people this would be top news, but for us, we haven't played the games. But Pedro Pascal killing it once again. I'm sure he'll make the show great. I honestly might watch it just because Pedro Pascal's in it, in all honesty. So moving right along.
Foundation. Did I exit out of the damn article? Son of a bee sting. I did. And now I don't know where the article's at. Foundation has released their trailer. And it's a big deal. I'm so sorry. I thought we had this in our news today, and I threw it in haphazardly.
I'm sorry.
You're good. You damn it, David! You son of a bee sting.
Yeah, I've been feeling weirdy all day.
It's all good, bro. So in 2021, Apple TV Plus is releasing Foundation, and it looks as though it's going to be a restart for sci-fi, as sci-fi icon Isaac Asimov is back. Asimov himself wrote the books, of Foundation and Empire, and Second Foundation. He's a legacy science fiction character, writer, and I sound like an idiot. We're going to watch the trailer, not this week, because I don't have it queued up, but we're going to watch it next week on our Thursday edition of Lights, Thunder, Action. You know what? Honestly,
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Thank you, Darth Vader. I know. Me too. I should have had Do Not Fail Me again. But Marvel and Star Wars are not crossing over. No fucking shit.
That's two.
Yeah, well, honestly, I don't know why people are wanting the. I don't mind the idea if it's animated, but duh! Unless, because now, ready for this? Kevin Feige is now in charge of all Marvel comics. This logo on our screen right now comes from when Marvel started releasing Marvel comics, Marvel Star Wars comics. If they do not MCU versions, excuse me, but if they do live action adaptation / continuing certain stories from the comics, which, the High Republic has just begun, then, maybe, but it ain't going to be Marvel characters and Star Wars characters. Why are we even asking this?
Yeah, so basically Feige's like, no, it's not going to happen because there's no reason for it. And I agree. I don't want this to happen. I'm not with it. I think where people's minds go, I don't think anyone really wants this to happen because it just makes no sense. In my opinion, though, I wouldn't be surprised in our lifetime if it did, because at some point they're gonna be low on ideas.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to hit that at all.
I didn't even hear it.
Oh, that's good.
That's not the only place he is.
I'm trying to get it to stop, but it won't stop.
Basically, what I was gonna say is, I would not be surprised if this does happen in our lifetimes, because at some point Disney's gonna run out of ideas. They own both these IPs, and it would possibly put people in the seats in like 35 years. I don't know, like way down in the future when they completely exhausted both of these franchises, which will eventually happen, in my opinion. It may happen, but no time soon. And no one wants this. No one's desiring this. Keep them separate. Do your own thing. Make good content in your own universes first. Then maybe deal with that. But honestly, just don't worry about it.
Don't touch it!
I'd rather a Marvel DC crossover.
Son of a beasting. Speaking of DC, David, there is a new trailer coming out in
3 days. So what is that? Sunday.
On the 14th, yes. On the day of Valentine.
Yes, there's going to be a new trailer for Snyder Cut. They came out. There's a few things that came out with Snyder Cut this week. The hype's building. The hype's getting back up. The hype had died down. Me and Thompson weren't excited for it. I'm getting a little more excited for it now. We got new first real images of Jared Leto as the Joker with long
we're not
hair.
there yet.
Oh no. I kind of just I was just throwing them all together.
Yeah, I know, but what you failed to see is this right here, my friend.
Ah.
No!
Let's go! Let's go!
Oh no. You have to stop that, mate. Yeah.
Okay. So, based off of me and Thompson's reactions, you can see that Black Suit Superman is getting us back on the Justice League Snyder Cut train, and it really has. And I enjoy the images of Jared Leto as Joker. I'm excited. I'm excited for this full trailer. I'm sure we'll fully discuss that next week on Lights, Thunder, Action. But until now, we have this. I'm excited for No Mustache. So there's that image. Did you have the other ones up?
I do. For our visual audience, if you're listening to our audio podcast, I'm showing the first photo of the trailer of the Joker from last week.
Yeah.
As well as now I'm showing the full body shot. He's got the long hair. He looks like he's in a medical gown wearing the gloves. Let me get that nice close up, and he's obviously scarred / burnt. Seems to be less tattooed.
And there's no damaged tattoo. I'm very curious to see how this will look in color. And just in the context of the film, I'm wondering how long he'll be in it. They just filmed this a few months ago, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
I like how he has the long hair. It's like, Jared Leto, show up. You don't have to do much makeup or hair. It's like that's kind of his hair.
Just cover his eyebrows, ladies and gentlemen. Cover his eyebrows.
He looks good though, and I really, really think he will add something to the film. And I liked his rendition, despite that movie being bad. I thought there should have been more of Jared Leto's Joker as like gangster, like I don't even know how to even describe him really. Just like he had power over the city. He wasn't like in the shadows or anything. He wasn't as mysterious. He was very openly the Joker, right? And these all people working for him and very powerful. This seems like he's kind of down on his luck. In this movie, I'm curious where he'll even fit. I'm excited. I'm excited to see him again. This might be the last time we'll ever see Jared Leto as the Joker. So cherish it.
Question.
Yeah.
I have this quote here. Where is this quote pulled from, David? You made this in the notes.
Sorry, yeah, I forgot about that. I forget what article I did, but it was an interview with Snyder or a post from Snyder. It's the quote is Zack Snyder speaking is the bottom line.
Yeah.
I forget where I pulled it. Sorry.
Okay. The scene explains where Bruce had the Joker card. The scene explains why Bruce had the Joker card taped to his gun that you see in Batman vs. Superman. I'd always wanted to explore the death of Robin, and if there ever was going to be a next movie, which of course there probably won't be, I wanted to do a thing where in flashbacks we learn about how Robin died, how Joker killed him and burned down Wayne Manor, and that whole thing that happened between he and Bruce.
Yeah.
Snyder.
So,
That sounds fracking
in
amazing.
the Batman v Superman trailer that dropped 5 years ago or however long that was, when you see the oh crap, it's like ha 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 on this what looks like a Joker suit and
Robin suit.
I'm sorry, yeah, and everyone's speculating. Everyone and their brothers like, ooh, Robin, are we going to get an explanation on Robin? Did Joker kill Robin? Never heard back from that since the trailer. Which is a classic DC thing where trailers get you more hype than the actual movies, which makes me nervous about this film.
Faith disturbing.
Oh, it's more than a lack of faith.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor.
And
Take her away.
Honestly, I'm not sure I'm a traitor for saying that because it's true, right? Like, especially Batman v Superman, those trailers were hype until they spoiled Abomination, right? No, not Abomination. What's the who's the guy that shows up at the end of
Doomsday?
Doomsday.
I was struggling.
I couldn't forget. Or I couldn't remember. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited for this. This movie's gonna be 4 hours long. They better do a lot of explaining, and there's gonna be a good amount of exposition. So it is what it is. The length I'm not excited for, but I will say these photos of Leto, the little tease, I'm sure the trailer on Sunday is all getting me more and more excited, re-excited for this film, which I had kind of died down in my brain.
So sorry.
You're good. I think it's WandaVision time.
Loris. Whoa,
This is it. This, ladies and gentlemen, this segment is brought to you by. All right, so we're talking WandaVision, baby. Yeah. David, you are in charge of the questions. You are leading this via the questions and the banners.
Sounds good.
So WandaVision we are like exactly less than 12 hours away. I believe
we're 8 hours away.
8 hours away, son of a beast.
All right. So for everyone that watches it, when it actually goes live in 8 hours, you'll be watching it. So this is us. We're going to go through some of our biggest questions for the future of WandaVision based on the first 5 episodes, and especially reacting to episode 5, which we haven't talked about yet. So this is a preview of what we'll all witness tomorrow or tonight, depending on where you live and how long you want to stay up for. The first and most important question is, who is Evan Peters? So obviously at the end of episode 5, Evan Peters shows up and has been recasted as Pietro. He has been recast. I have to get that right. He's been recast as Pietro and recast, quote unquote, because that's just what Darcy says. And he's like, did she recast Pietro? It's a really weird moment where it's like, all right, like he's acting. He's like, oh, you haven't seen your brother in forever. Like, what are you doing? It's a classic sitcom trope from the 90s of like the out of town family member showing up and being like, hey, what's up? So it's such a clever show in so many ways. And the biggest one is that how it's causing all this ruckus on the internet, but also keeping it makes sense in the show in a way that actually stays true to the sitcominess of it, where it's like this, it's a sitcom trope that a family member would show up out of nowhere. I heard people saying they got Uncle Jesse vibes. But this is the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, right? It's like, what's happening? Evan Peters obviously played Quicksilver in the X-Men universe. And there's a lot to unpack here. Here's where I want to start, Thomas. I'd love to hear what you think's happening, because honestly, I shrug at what's happening. I've heard all week. It's been a week now of taking things in. Is he actually him? Is he recast? Is he actually recast as Pietro? Is this the beginning of the multiverse? Is he dressing up? Is he
Mephisto?
Is he Mephisto essentially? Yeah. Is he impersonating Pietro and being Evan Peters for some weird way? I didn't add them in the show notes, but I wrote an article. Jack Schaefer, she is the showrunner, the creator of WandaVision. She had some really interesting quotes saying how when they brought up the idea, specifically on Evan Peters' cameo and appearance, who knows how big of a role he'll have. I hope he has a pretty good bit of a role. This is the thing. She's like, her and Feige was like, it has to make sense. The idea is fun. Peters was always for it. He was always like on board with doing it and excited about it, but it had to make sense. Here's my thing. I want to hear what you think, Thomas, because I shrug. My big, and everyone in the comments, I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are. This question's not just for me and Thomas, it's for everyone. If this is yet another, Thomas, where'd you go? You're black. Your screen's black. Are you going?
Serious? What the frack?
You'll figure that out. I'm going to continue on. If this is another made you look at the multiverse kind of thing, because that's where everyone's head goes, right? We know Spider-Man 3 is coming and to tackle the multiverse in some way. Obviously, Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness is all about the multiverse and putting it back together. We can assume, we can draw conclusions. It's going to be about the multiverse generally. Here's the thing. In Far From Home, as Thomas has brought up before, Mysterio says he's from a different reality, and they explicitly talk about the multiverse. And Peter's like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. Is the multiverse actually real? All these certain things. How could that be possible? And Peter's smart, so he's like, oh, it could be possible this way, this way, this way. Now with Pietro showing up, Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the X-Men, this is a clear tease and nod at the multiverse. And we at least assume that the multiverse will be brought up in some way in this show. Is this the way? I don't know. Is this the way? Here's my thing. I'm a little annoyed if it's not. So I am rooting for it to be a multiversal thing, even though I really don't know it is, because it seems so obvious. But the thing is, I just want them to we know the multiverse is coming, and having the first two real teases of the multiverse in flesh and blood in an MCU show of factual people being a fake out is just kind of, it rubs me the wrong way. Like, give it to me. We know it's coming. Mysterio wasn't from a different reality. And if Pietro, if Evan Peters isn't, it's kind of like, all right, like, you made us look like it was a big, they made us look one way and it's a big fake out. I don't want another fake out. I mean, I get if it's the story, and I believe the story will pay off, but just personally, it's kind of annoying if it's not a multiverse thing. So I hope it is. I hope it's him from the X-Men, and I hope they have a very clever way, which I'm sure they do, because they know there's a lot of coordination with how this came about to make it happen. I'm sure it will have a good explanation, but I hope it is a multiversal thing, not a Mephisto thing. Thomas, where do you land on this? What are your thoughts?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Who is Evan Peters?
Even if he is Mephisto is from an entirely different universe. So it's still multiversal.
Right. Good point.
So when it comes to, like, everyone's like, oh, we've been faked out by the multiverse. We've been faked out by the tough shit.
Literally me.
Like, yeah, it is. And I'm just like, we've literally been shown the multiverse in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Like, we get to see it. We go to the dark dimension. That's another reality. We see it in WandaVision. And I will stand by this, that WandaVision, the Hex, is a pocket reality. Therefore, it is multiverse. We see that stuff that goes in gets changed molecularly, sent out as something else. Mm-hmm. She is able to rewrite reality. So what she is rewriting is, in fact, itself a part of the multiverse.
Yeah.
I want it to be Evan Peters.
really, really bad. Excuse me. I want it to be Pietro. I want him to be Quicksilver. I want to get a backstory between him and Wanda. And she's like, I don't remember that. You know, like they're about the same age, the actors. Like it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do I think that Evan Peters is actually the string puller? I think that if you follow conventional wisdom of script writing, yes, he would be the string puller. Based on one thing and one thing only. The ovation that he got. If you look at, when they laugh, it's torturous times, It doesn't laugh at places which are supposed to be fun. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it, but let's just hope that dog stays the same size. The audience, gives us a... But then I'm just like, oh my God, that dog is Mephisto.
Yeah, right.
And the crane and the animals are acting weird, and she can't use her magic on them, and she can't use the magic on the kids. So if she can't use the magic on Pietro, then we'll find out soon enough.
Who do you think? What would be your lock it in final answer? Who wants to be a millionaire, Thomas? Who is Evan Peters? What character is he?
Why you got to do that to me, bro?
Because I didn't have a good answer.
I don't have a good answer either, bro.
I'm leaning that he is not Quicksilver from X-Men. That's where I'm leaning. I'm thinking if he's not Mephisto, he's some other imposter. And there's some weird explanation where there is this crossing of the two characters, and that's why he appears as Evan Peters. I don't know. Thomas, by the way, your screen blacked out again.
I don't understand why. I'm getting very upset. Like it hasn't happened until right now.
Falling into the darkness, dude.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor.
Take her away. Okay, I am also leaning the exact same way.
Yeah.
In my gut, in my hope, my hope is it is Quicksilver.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the next.
My hope is important to remember because it leads to your next question very beautifully.
Next question. Is Wanda in full control? Okay. My short answer to this, and I love to hear everyone else in the comments' answer with us watching, or if you're watching later, just think about this. Is Wanda in full control of the Hex, of this whole WandaVision pocket reality, as Thomas calls it? I would say no. And my biggest point of I would say, and I think we get the answer in this episode, in episode 5 at the end, when she's looking at what she's at the end of episode 5. Sorry.
I got you.
I'm calling back to episode 5. When she's talking to Vision and she's explaining, right, how could I control all these people, and when they go to the dentist and mow the lawn and stuff like that's unbelievable. And there's part of you where it's like, is she just saying that and she actually is doing this? But I think what made me think that she was telling the truth in that moment and that she cannot possibly control all of it was Pietro showing up at the door. She was surprised, and I don't think that was fake. I think she was genuinely surprised to see Evan Peters, and if she had full control of everything and she was manipulating everyone, even if you're self-aware like Agnes, right? We'll probably talk about it a bit later. We'll talk to Agnes specifically, but the super jarring scene that was, I thought, one of the best scenes of WandaVision so far. Very subtle, very small. Of Agnes, Catherine Hahn's character, being like, "Oh, you want to go from the top?" And like her going out of her character as Agnes in the pocket version, in the Hex of WandaVision, and being like, "Hey, do you want to take it from the top?" That was so creepy and weird and off-putting, and I love how we're getting more and more of that as WandaVision goes along. I do not think Wanda's in full control, and my biggest thing to point out for that, I don't know who is. I'm not sure who is in control, if there is another being that is, but I don't think she is in full control. I think she is in a lot of control, clearly.
Yeah,
because she's in everyone's heads, and we know that, especially from talking to Vision. Norm, yes, that was amazing.
It's not real.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All right. I'm gonna hop in.
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I hope Wanda is in full control. I really do. And here's the thing that leads me to think, if I go down this rabbit hole of Wanda's in full control, how do I explain all the things I've seen?
Yeah.
She didn't mean to do the butterfly effect thing. She didn't mean for all the stuff for the power to go out, and she was having pregnancy issues with the boys, right?
Right.
She didn't mean to do all these things. She doesn't know how she got there, so she says.
Yeah.
But of course, we get that one scene, and it's that one scene that makes me go, is Wanda in full control here? And I think to an extent, yes.
Yeah.
I think she is in as much control as she thinks she's in. If she is in complete control, she created the thing and she gave herself amnesia, or perhaps Agnes gave her amnesia by pulling off painful memories. Or Mephisto, or whomever is the string puller in the string puller theory that we all have. I want her to be the villain. And
Wanda, you're saying, or Agnes?
Wanda. I want Wanda to be the villain. I want her to be in full control. And you can explain it as her in that moment just saying, I wish I had Pietro here.
Right.
Because he understood me. And then he shows up at the door. And it's literally the same thing as, I didn't mean to do that.
It was, yeah.
And I think that since, because of, as soon as those boys were born, like everything changed. She became emotionally attached.
Yeah.
Which, if she's not already in full control, she will be soon.
Quickly,
now,
next question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so for the string puller theory, if she's not in full control, I think that the string puller gave the because it's all coming down to vision. Like vision is the key to everything to me.
Yeah.
If we follow string puller theory, it all starts with vision. They gave Wanda the info on Vision. If Wanda's in full control, then she felt Vision awakening and rescued him. The reason I think either one of these works is because at the end of the day, it all started when she found out about Vision.
Yeah.
And that's the key that got us here.
I really want to rewatch episode 5. Maybe I'll do that tonight.
Do it, man. It's so good. I rewatched it last night, and then I threw on X-Men Apocalypse. Do you have that question from the comments lined up?
Yeah, I was just going to point out in the comments, Randy and Kathy Erzira pointing out, good question. I was going to firstly say that they both were saying no, not in total control. Randy said, quickly, not on an entirely conscious level, which I like. I like the way she put that. Kind of like what you were saying, Thomas, right?
And because of Vision and what Vision says, I want to believe that until recently, you were doing this not out of any conscious control. And then once you found out, that is where I worry. And she's like, I'm not doing this. And that's a very important line because, again, Vision's the key.
Right. Okay. Kathy writing in, they said Wanda took Vision's body 9 days ago, but Monica went missing 2 years before her mother died 3 years ago. So is the story 9 days or 5 years? It's 9 days.
It is 9 days. The story of WandaVision has really been taken. I mean, if you include what Monica happened, it's taken place over about 3 weeks.
Right. Correct. If you take in especially episode 4. Yeah.
Exactly. Because Wanda and Monica both got dusted. And I think that's going to be very important going forward, that they both went through at least similar things, right?
Well, that might have something to do with the x-rays, but yeah.
Okay. We're not going to get we're not there yet, David. We're not there yet. But I do absolutely love the whole idea that, Monica is probably going to be the person to try and break through with Wanda. Because they both got dusted, and they both came back only to realize that the person they love most is no longer here.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Wanda knew it right before getting dusted. So getting dusted to her was relief.
Anyway.
Monica was waiting, so that was that. That's going to be a big, important thing going up. It's going to be exciting. And David, I'm ready for your next question.
Next question. Sword director. I don't even know his name.
Haywood.
But
Tom Hayward.
Tom Hayward. Sword director. He's good or bad is the simple way I phrase this question.
Yes.
There is a theory floating around that it's just a fan theory, that because they were experimenting and running tests and whatnot on Vision's body, And the moment of Hayward walking Monica around in episode 4, talking about artificial intelligence and advanced technology and all this whatnot, that Sword could have been trying to bring back Ultron, which is obviously a part of Vision, which is a very specific theory, but I thought it was a really fun one. You look it up online to read the full thing. I'm sure some outlets are writing about it. It's a really fun theory, and I like it. Like, were they trying to bring back Ultron? Were they just trying to bring back Vision? But Ultron, I think in a way, they thought maybe they could have control over it. He was very powerful while he was like having full access to the internet and all these sorts of things. But let's put that to the side. Simply, is the Sword director good or bad? And I am going to go on the record. I like the idea that he's actually good after all. Because here's the thing in this show. Like you've been saying, Thomas, of Marvel trying to, what do you keep?
Con?
Yeah, like con artists and showing you one thing but giving us the other. In the show, the Sword director, Hayward, sorry, I keep forgetting it.
Yep.
Hayward has been made out to be a jerk. And like that's how we're supposed to perceive him. But if you actually listen to what he's saying, if it was in a different light, in a different context, it'd be like, oh yeah, it makes sense. When he was laying out the like what Wanda's history is, if you don't emphasize with like, if you don't already like Wanda, you would think, oh yeah, she's dangerous. Like that makes sense. She's probably a dangerous sentient weapon, some would say. Here's the thing. I like the idea because everyone's zigging that he's bad and that he'd be really bad, like as in Mephisto or even like worse or whatever that means. I don't like any of that. I like the idea that it turns out, because especially I think especially hearing the line of I forget, I think it's Darcy being like, oh yeah, like he's a huge dick or whatever. Yeah. You know, remember that line, the scene? Almost because of that, I'm starting to think that maybe he's actually not that bad and could be good in the end. Because I, as you do, love the idea. I love the idea of Wanda being the big bad in the end, and Doctor Strange shows up at the end. That's what I really want to happen. And part of that is that the Sword director, it turns out, isn't actually that bad. But hey, it seems like he is bad. But I think, I guess, hot take, I think he could not be bad and actually could be on the good side here. Even though, and I think the biggest reason I say that is because of how he's being portrayed so far. It's so obvious and heavy-handed how he's being shown as this kind of like, ooh, he must be up to no good kind of guy and not very nice. Thomas, who do you think Hayward is, the Sword director?
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
Skrull. I think Hayward is a Skrull.
A Skrull we know, or just some random Skrull?
A Skrull.
Okay.
I just think he's a Skrull. I get Skrull vibes from him, you know. You know, like people are like, "Oh my God, is Abigail Brand the director, or is Nick Fury the director?" I think obviously it's Nick Fury's the director at this point in time. Like coming, I mean, you know, obviously something was going on, and it sounds like the acting, you know, because I'm acting director, and he's like, well, she's like, you know, they chose well, and he's like, there was no one else to choose from. She's like, I didn't want to say it. You know, it leads to believe that it was he became acting director during the dusting.
Yeah,
during the blip. The dusting. And I just think he's a Skrull, you know, and I do question whether he's a good Skrull or a bad Skrull, because I'm looking ahead to Secret Invasion, right?
True.
Like, let's think about Secret Invasion. Like, I would love for Sword to be good. I would love for Sword to take on the Skrull invasion the same way they took on Hydra, but this time they are way more ahead of the game. If Secret Invasion is based around Fury, and then it's like, oh look, my secret government organization has been infiltrated by an enemy. What am I going to do? Well, this time I'm prepared because I learned from my last mistake. Let's murder. I mean, maybe not, but you never know. So I'm thinking he's a Skrull, and I don't have an answer on whether he's good. I love the swerve idea, though, that he's actually good, and we're only seeing what we are seeing through the eyes of Wanda.
Yeah.
Let's be real, Monica was in Wanda's head essentially, and vice versa. And Darcy and Jimmy Woo are both fans of Avengers.
Yeah.
So
let's go through the next few a little quicker. The
Yeah,
next
David.
one up, are the twins real? I am
Yes.
going to say no.
Ooh.
I do not think. I think they are a manifestation of, you could say, her powers or a different power or even the Mind Stone. They have these special magical ability. I do not think the twins will leave the Hex. Is why I say no. That is my.
Okay.
That's my
I see
answer
what you're
for
saying.
no. I do not see
Gotcha.
them leaving the Hex in any form or fashion. And I think it's because of their special abilities, how they can age themselves seemingly on their own, without the control of Wanda. And even let's think about this. Wanda tells the kids how she has a brother, and then they show up. They almost seem like a extension of her or something else, or a separate, Mephisto, whatever you want to say, entity, magical. And I do not. I think, and even the way they're portrayed, I know a lot of fans are getting excited about a possible Young Avengers Disney Plus show upcoming. If you bring Wiccan and Speed, isn't that their
aliases?
Bring them in. You have Kate Bishop, all this stuff. I do not see it. I think this is going to be. I think they're playing with the idea exclusively in this show of these two children, or they're going to grow up to teenagers, men, whatever, and it will be done in this. And they will not. And I think they are not real, because here's the thing, right? Just logically in the show, we know when stuff enters when stuff enters the Hex, it can be morphed and changed. It's
and
manipulated. But these were created in the Hex. And that is between that and just the fact that they have these abilities and whatnot. I do not think they are real, in the sense that I do not think they can leave the Hex and be out in the real world, because I do not think they are anything more than what Wanda or whatever else is controlling the Hex conjured up. Thomas, you shouted yes.
Counterpoint time.
Let's hear
All
it.
right. So the reason I say they are real is because they had to come from somewhere. I understand your reasoning. I also disagree that they're not going to leave the Hex. I don't think they will leave the Hex as they are. I think they will leave the Hex in some other form or fashion. Again, everything is, and I think this is entirely created. Now, again, if we're following the Wanda's in control theory, she's going to try and make them real, like physically real outside of the Hex. But she still had to create them from something. So they are real. Now, you cannot create matter. It has to be manipulated and changed. It cannot be destroyed neither.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm thinking, perhaps, and that's what really pushes me to the string puller theory even more, is because of House of M in the comics, Mephisto is involved. The children are made from slivers of Mephisto's soul, and I think that's partially about what we're doing here. She could not control the stork, if you will, which the name Red Herring popped into my head today, and all I could think was Wanda's the Red Herring.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. Like, it makes so much sense, blah, blah, blah. And the stork is biting at those fish, which would be a herring, right? Yes. And so I really do think the twins are real. I think that they might leave the Hex. I think the entire point is for the Hex to take over parts of reality, because, again, if it's string puller theory, Mephisto wants to be alive, and he can be alive through those two kids, and possibly even through Pietro's body if he is indeed playing Pietro. Now, if it's Wanda in control, they are not yet real, but she is hoping that they will be. We know from a trailer that Vision makes it outside of the Hex.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen. I think that they've released that so that we can speculate. Now, here's another thing that I've been. That's a huge question. Like, I have weird, crazy theories. But I think the twins are real.
Okay. Next question. This leads right into what you were just saying. Is Vision alive? Which is, now it's up for debate. Before,
it is.
In my opinion, I think most people thought Wanda has just reimagined Vision in this imaginative world, right? And now we're kind of seeing it. It reminds me of the line in Thor. I think it might be the first one where he's like, "On your world, it's magic, but here it's just like science." You know what I mean? Where it's so advanced.
Ooh,
right?
Okay.
Like
that's a good pull.
Thank you, Flourish. We're seeing it now in WandaVision, where now that we're getting the outside looking in and the inside looking out view. We're seeing where it's so magical in here, but on the outside,
I love
you. But from the outside, we're seeing it's made of Kevlar. It's manipulated. It's been transformed. There's some sort of science behind it, and now it's like, okay, so what did Wanda do with Vision? And the thing is, I want to look back on that scene later at some point, maybe tonight. When she goes and gets Wanda's body, or Vision's body, excuse me, he's all dismantled. She's not picking up a full Vision body that could be reanimated. In my opinion, like that's what it is. That isn't what it looks like. That's not what I'm being shown.
Exactly.
So in my opinion, where my head goes is, this is not Vision at all. It's a part of Vision. And because we know that that all these things in this new reality can be transformed and configured and all this stuff. My thing is, especially, looking back at that scene in WandaVision episode 5, when Vision's like, I can't remember anything that happens before this.
Mm-hmm.
What if he needs the Mind Stone for that? What if the parts of him that Wanda brought in didn't include his memory, just brought in his personality traits and all this stuff? I'm taking this from more of a logical point of view. It seems like she brought in some of him, and that's the stuff she's kind of brought to life. There's obviously the moment in episode 4 when we see the dead version of Vision, which kind of a lot of people speculated that maybe he's just a puppet walking around. I don't know. And we do know, I think in a way we know that the other people in Westview see Vision as either the human or actually Vision, not a dead corpse. So in my opinion, I think that moment in episode 4 was just Wanda being reminded that he's actually dead in real life. So is he alive? Is he not? My answer is in between. and I'm sticking with that. I think it's in between. I think parts of him have been reanimated and haven't been brought to life. And I think this is a tease and kind of jumping forward to what's going to happen in episode 6.
I'm ready.
I think in episode 6, we find out a lot more of what Vision is in WandaVision. Is he actually Vision? Is he not Vision at all? In my opinion, it's in between there. Maybe he partially dies when he leaves. I don't know. But I'm sticking with that in between little space where parts of him were brought in because it seems like it was dismantled. She brought parts of him. She manipulated him to be the full thing. And it's not all him. There's empty spots in his brain, in his body. Thomas, is Vision really alive? What are your thoughts?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay.
Not yet. Okay, so
I like that.
Here is the crazy part of my theory.
Yeah.
I'm now everywhere. I don't know what's going to happen, but every little thing has to mean something in my brain. Vision. Vision is the key. Here's the question I really want everyone to ask themselves. Not, is Vision really alive? No. I don't want to know that. What happens when Vision learns the truth?
Yes.
I ask that because the show asks that.
Yes.
And it's important to note that he's slowly starting to learn the truth, and it is bewildering, and he can't understand. And he can't remember what happened before Westview, and he's scared, and he's alone, and he doesn't understand. And that's when we see he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know who he is.
Right.
These are all things that he was probably thinking and feeling when he was being experimented on by Sword. He doesn't know where he is. I mean, let's be real. He was Jarvis. Jarvis was lost in the internet. Jarvis did not know where he lived. He just knew what he was just following specific programming. That's why I don't think Vision is alive yet, because I think the moment he crosses that barrier, because he's alive in the barrier, much like the steel cable being pulled back with the end of a jump rope, he's gonna become real then.
Interesting. I like it.
I think this episode we find that out. This episode, this welcome to WandaVision treats or tricks, because that is where we are sitting. And I think in the Halloween episode coming up, we're going to find out more about Agnes. We're going to find out more about Vision. We're going to see a little bit more, but here's what I really think is going to happen. He's going to break through the barrier, and we're going to find out if Vision is really alive.
Yeah.
And then the question will be, what happens when Vision finds out?
Yep. I think that's how this next episode ends. Not the spoiler, like what our thoughts are on episode 6. Okay, the next 3 questions I can answer pretty quick. So let's go through them. Does Monica have superpowers? Of course, this is a reaction to the X-ray scan of it being 0, of it just being blank, on top of her getting powers in the comics. She's Photon, right?
She's a lot of things, and she's Photon, the original Captain Lady Marvel. Almost got there. The original version of a female Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a couple other nicknames.
Okay, my quick answer is I think that's a tease that she does have her powers, but I do not think she actually has them yet. That is just my opinion. I think those will come about, or maybe they will just sprout. Maybe this is just a tease, and they will be awakened in Captain Marvel 2. I do not think in this show we will get her powers. That's just me. I think that will be more of a storytelling beat in Captain Marvel 2. I like the idea of that more. I think it'd be a big distraction if they try to do that whole story in this show. I think they need to I think that was a tease. This is a Marvel thing. They teased that. I think we may not get back to that empty scan X-ray again in WandaVision. And we'll get Monica Rambeau in Captain Marvel 2, and we'll get back to it. Thomas, what are your thoughts?
I think she already has her powers.
Okay.
I don't think we will find out. I think we'll find out she has powers in this episode. I don't think we'll find out the reasons why.
Interesting.
But are you ready for my theory on why?
Yes.
She was left with that leather jacket from Carol, wasn't she?
Yes.
She said, "You keep it safe from me," right?
Right.
I don't remember her wearing that off to go back into space, Carol. Well, how did Carol absorb her power? How did she get her power? She absorbed the Infinity Stone, or the Infinity, the Tesseract. Excuse me, the power of the Tesseract.
I was with you.
maybe with that same jacket on. I don't know, but she wore it enough that perhaps that rubbed off onto young little Monica. Now, here's my 2 things. One of her powers in the comics is the ability to absorb
energy, right?
Energy, yes.
Or light. Isn't it light?
No, it's light and energy are the same thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But she can absorb X-rays, and that's why she never shows up on X-rays. We've seen that. She also has super strength, and she ran into that guy as he was rematerializing from the blip. And I said from there, I think she already has her powers. And so I'm still on that train.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think she will be Photon. She could be, because that is Maria Rambeau's nickname, was Photon.
Yeah.
I don't think Monica will actually be Photon. Okay. I do think she could be Earth's Captain Marvel.
Cool. I like that.
Because then we have the Carol Core and the different versions of Captain Marvel, and I think that, she'd kick some ass on Earth, right? And a terrestrially bound Captain Marvel, and then also you have a cosmic bound Captain Marvel. That is
interesting.
That is marketing.
I love Monica Rambeau in this show. I think she's a great addition to the MCU. So I'd like to see that. Moving along, this is a big question
Hold on, you got another question here, and I got it from the in the show notes. Why is she beefing with Captain Marvel? It's because I don't think Captain Marvel ever came back.
Yeah, I agree. It's something with her mom. It's something with Maria. There's something there where maybe she didn't save her. Something. There's an issue when it comes to Maria's death and Captain Marvel and Monica. There was something happened there, and they didn't put that in there for nothing. I think it's going to come back in Captain Marvel 2. And honestly,
I just think it is. Oh, sorry.
I just really, I've gotten more excited for Captain Marvel 2 because of this new addition of Monica Rambeau in the MCU. I love this character. Go on.
I think it's because that Carol went off into space and just never came back to Earth until after the blip, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
As far as Monica knows, Carol never came back except she came back in to fight Thanos. So she came back for that, but not for my mom dying. Well, we saw her come back to Earth, and then she fought, and then they went and they killed Thanos. Well, there's time after that. She could have easily, the very next thing would be, let's find Maria. And then when we see her fighting Thanos later on, she has that look of, I'm going to murder you. And it's because he snapped Lieutenant Trouble out of existence. And she had to carry that. So I think that's the issue is Monica's like, you never came back. You never got to see my mom, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, I did come back. And I came back and found out about you. And I was gutted. And now we're going to kick everyone's ass. Next question.
Marvel 2. My favorite question of this show, because it makes me excited and I love the idea of it. Will Wanda be a villain? Maybe not the villain, but a villain in Doctor Strange 2? I have a resounding yes to this answer because I love the idea of it so much. Forget logic, forget whatever. I do think it actually will happen, though. I do believe she will be a villain, and it's setting up nicely that way. I don't like the idea. Well, the idea would be fine of her just being a team-up movie with Doctor Strange and Wanda. I like the idea of Stephen Strange, having to control Wanda and get her under control in the Multiverse of Madness, and then maybe in the third act she's come back to her senses, and then they can beat the bigger bad person, because we know she's not bad deep down. But I love the idea of her going insane and being a villain in Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. Thomas, what do you think?
I hope so is my short answer, and that's all I'm going to say. We need to go through some of these a little bit fast.
What aerospace engineer did Monica text? I had pulled something up from the direct from Pierre Shen Lao. I forget. I'm not sure if I pronounced his last name right, but I'm not going to read all this. I had it all here. But he said Blue Marvel, which is a Marvel character. They had Blue Marvel. It's Adam Brashear. He's the character in the comics. He had a relationship even with Monica in the comics. He wrote this. Check it out on thedirect.com. He had a really good. It was like answering this question basically: who could the aerospace engineer Monica texted be? I liked that answer. I know the clickbaity answer is Reed Richards or Sue Storm. Thomas, what are your thoughts?
I read that same article because I was intrigued on what people thought about it. I don't think it's anyone on the list. Really? I don't even know who it is, but I read them all and I was like, I don't honestly, Adam Brashear is the only one that really fits. And even then I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel like
they're laying the trail here for Captain Marvel 2, man. I think all this is going to come back on Captain Marvel 2. And I like the idea of that, genuinely.
Here's my question of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Why are there no other children in Westview?
Yeah. Which is, and I pointed it in parentheses, because we see the footage of the Halloween episode, which we all assume is tomorrow's episode or tonight's or whenever you want.
Definitely after Vision asked that question. So
yeah, exactly. And there's a bunch of children. Thomas, what's your answer? Because I don't know. I don't know what my answer is to this. What's your answer?
I think there are no other children in Westview simply because whenever this started, Wanda wanted to limit as many people getting hurt.
Then where do you think the children are coming from in this episode coming up?
Oh, everywhere. I think this is what's going to send. Okay. If children randomly show up in WandaVision, and there have been no children in WandaVision, I'm talking the in-universe show itself.
Yeah.
They gotta come from somewhere, right? She's not going to create all of these children, even though it is all made for. I think more importantly than all of that, she wanted to limit casualties, right? She didn't want to hurt people too much. She knows what it's like. Yeah. And when it comes to why are there children there now, simply because she had to answer Vision's question. Right. And that is when everyone in the outside world is really going to lose their shit. Because now it's like, Where did all these children come from? It's like we have 30 calls on these children being missing. Now we've seen set photos from Spider-Man 3, right? And there are children,
yes.
And there are children missing.
Right.
There's a theory that perhaps those children are in one.
Yeah, which I love that theory. That's such a good pull.
And if it's set 9 months apart,
ooh, yikes!
Yeah, you see where I'm going with this. So I think this is slowly going to devolve worse and worse as she's going to try and maintain what control she has, and the children, it's all man.
Well, moving along, Thomas, I want you to take over this question, and everyone in the comments answer too. What is the deal with Agnes? Who is she? What's up? What's her deal? Because there were some interesting scenes last episode. And what do you think moving forward? What's Agnes's deal, Thomas? What's your fan story on this Thor's Day?
Oh, this is gonna be a gas. So listen, okay, Agnes, potentially my favorite character, 100%. I love Catherine Hahn Peter. Like, Into the Spider-Verse, she plays Doc Ock. She plays Olivia.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And I love everything that she does. And I love everything that she's ever done. So she comes in and she's like being built up to be the helper. She's like have you ever seen The Good Place, David?
What show? Is that a show?
Okay, well, yes, it is. And
wait, I've heard of it though. Which one is it?
It's the one where they're stuck in heaven and then they find out they're stuck in heaven. You know, that's where what the fork came from, and holy forking shirt balls. Well, I say holy frack. It's where some of these little things are sprinkled in from life.
Okay, I'm aware.
Well, there is and now I, for the life of me, cannot remember the damn character's name because you threw. There's the character literally there only to help people, right? And that is what I think Agnes is. And I think that she's there to help Janet. Janet is the character's name in The Good Place. I think she's essentially the Janet of this operation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She is there to make sure. And I have a lot of theories. I have a lot of like chicken scratch written around. I really think that Agnes is she's there as a story plant to achieve the final goal of the string puller in the string puller theory, which again, I'm a backer of that. I think she also wants Vision to figure it out, slowly revealing more information, because if he can become real, then WandaVision will perpetually become real and release Puppet Master onto all realities. I think that comes from the mind gem exploding, which gives Vision a shred of his former power and energy. Perhaps these scenes line up of Vision escaping at the same time the Mind Stone is exploding, you know? Then she goes on to spray the kids with lavender in this episode, right? And she says, you know, it's supposed to help with sleepiness or whatever. Is that true? Or is it some magical potion awakening something deeper to then be able to maintain their power?
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, there's a few things from this episode that really draw me in. She says about the dog, well, you better hope that, you know, she sees the kids basically grow up, and she's like, kids, you just can't control them. That's an important line. And it's an important line of dialogue. Then she says about the dog, you know, you better hope this dog stays the same size. And then the dog dies, right? Because of her azalea bushes outside of her house is how they make it seem. Which, by the way, David, I don't know if you saw this. Her house is the Bewitched house. It's the 100% the same house as Bewitched. Yeah. Like, literally, they went and they shot some plates for that so they could shoot that scene. Like, or they were just on location at the Bewitched house. I don't know. It's amazing. Anyways, back to the point. Then she expresses that the dogs died. Well, you know, a being cannot become if you follow the multiversal theory that there's another reality that our souls go to in between lives, and you have to leave a physical life to then go to a next physical life in a chronological order, if you express it that way and you believe in that, then the dog had to die so that Pietro could come in, right? Whether it's Pietro or Mephisto does not matter. I think Agnes, and there's another theory out there that I also like, that Agnes is trying to protect the children, to keep the children inside of the hex. She could be actually trying to run interference, if that's the case, from Mephisto or the string puller. Agnes is also a key, not the key. Vision is the key to everything.
Right.
But Agnes is the key to the underlying what else is going on, the string puller theory, if you will.
Right.
Now, it's important to note that when she's holding the dog and she's crying and she's sad, you know, she's aware of what's going on and she's aware of her purpose. The dog had to die for some greater purpose in the sitcom.
Right.
I think it was done so that Wanda had to tell the boys about, you know, death and overcoming it and grief. And then they say, you can fix the dead. And she drops all facade and goes, you can really do that?
Yeah, right.
And then you see her. She's 100% like that. You can
genuinely curious.
You can actually do that. And then when she says no, you see her. She's holding the dog, and she's like, "Okay, that's fine. That's good. That's fair." I think Agnes is Agatha Harkness. I think Agnes is really, her reaction to Fix the Dead is all about Scratchy. Senior Scratchy, who I theorized is her son. And in Terry in the comments, I also theorized that is actually who Pietro is. We've gone a little bit long on this section, but I want to jump to the comments really quick, because there's a damn good question that we're going to ask at the end of this, David, because I think it might be revealed in episode 6. Kevin Duke says she is part the devil, and she killed the dog and asked Wanda to wake the dead, so she says no. Ooh, okay, Kevin Dukes, that's a good take. I like that take. Terry says Agnes is without a doubt Agatha, one of the original witches from the Salem witch trials. Her bunny is called Mr. Scratch, which ties to Agatha's son, Nicholas Scratch. Randy says Janet is probably one of the few. Oh, damn it! One of the few that understands what is going on and not locked in her mind like the rest, along with the other neighbor, Janet. Oh, I think she's talking about Agnes. Agnes understands what's going on along with the other neighbor, and that would be Sherby, my old friend Sherbet. Oh, okay, hold on. Here's a good take from Randy. She says all the children are probably harder to mind control, so they might have been in comas. Son of a bitch! That's good. That's real good. We're going to ask this question now, because I know I'm going to forget if I don't do it now. Randy K. Stewart asked, who is the original person in witness protection? David, do you have an idea?
No. Do you have an idea, Thomas?
I have a lot of ideas. You could argue Sherby. He's a main character. You could argue Norm. You could argue Pietro.
Ooh.
Because then think about it. If say the idea that someone was there poking around trying to figure out what's going on, then you send in that agent, right? Well, they're already doing. Anyways, I think that too it could be. Like, these are options.
Yeah.
I know we have a lot more questions that we have going on.
Few more.
An interesting point brought out actually from Randy. She says Monica was gone during the dusting, so she probably didn't even know Captain Marvel came back and hasn't had the time to catch up with Captain Marvel. She came back and almost immediately was sent on the Hex assignment. Yes, that would be why she's got that little gruffness there with Carol. Interesting that it's funny that they thought it was a missing persons. They said it was a missing persons case.
Yeah,
it seems very fracking clear that Hayward knew Wanda took Vision and went somewhere specific.
Right. She wasn't told the whole story initially.
She was not told the whole story initially. So it's very possible that
she
was directly put on this mission because trusted by Hayward.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Thomas, you posed this question. Are we going to see heroes we know and love framed for / manipulated to do things? What did you mean by this question, and what is your answer?
Remember Far From Home?
Yes, I do.
He was manipulated to give those glasses to Quentin Beck, and then he was framed for everything in London.
Right.
Well, if there is a string puller, the string puller theory suggests that Wanda has to take the fall. A patsy. There's always a patsy. And that is Wanda in this show, 100%. Granted, she's not just a patsy. She is kind of doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not, she's been manipulated to go over the edge.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see. Again, because I was also thinking, is Sword setting up this for her to take this fall, is doing these horrible things just to cover the fact that they were doing horrible things?
Yeah, exactly.
That's where this question came from. And I kind of want to know what everyone else thinks about hero manipulation. Do you think that could be a trope that we see? Because again, think about everything since Civil War with the Sokovia Accords and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot to be a hero. It takes a lot to legally be a hero. And I think that's going to be I think the Accords are going to have more of an effect than the blip itself.
Okay. Moving along. What's the deal with the intros?
I figured it out, bro. All right. So I went back. I love the intros, but if you look at them, they're not from any episodes that we see, nor are they things that we've seen from
their own thing entirely.
And granted, we are only seeing little snippets. It appears as if there's full seasons in these genres, or in these decades, if you will.
Yeah.
I think that the opening of the first episode, it's just them moving to town, right? It's a newlywed couple just moved to town. And that's not how it happened, right? So what would that be? That would be a fake memory. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know what? I got to do it to myself. Oh, my soundboard's not working?
No.
Yeah, so to the fake memories from one. Yeah. So, fact is, they are false memories, though. And that's what I think. In another show, Legends of Tomorrow, there's a character who is a clone and actually is implanted with false memories. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It just has to be little snippets, because that's what memories are. They're snippets of actual things that happen, and they get colored through time, right? Mm-hmm. They are just to make Vision and Wanda fall deeper and deeper into the reality of WandaVision. And in the last episode, there's a lot of stuff. There's pictures of them as babies, and then them as adults, like the boys being babies, and then this, and then there's photos of baby Vision and kid Vision and all this stuff.
It's so funny.
Oh, it's not just funny, bro. That's a tease. Vision created his own family in the comics.
In my head, I know what you're saying. I get it.
And the intros are false memories meant to brainwash everyone into the reality,
right?
As well as the few of the people outside of the reality.
I'll be honest. My counter, not really a counter, but my point of view, you're looking deep into it, and look deep into every part of the show. Everything means something. In my point of view, the intros have just been for a comedic beat, and they've just been so, especially the latest one with the Vision child, the
We're
kids
making it up as we go along.
So funny. It was so funny. I've loved the intros, but I like where your head is with these, because
sorry,
you're good. Everything in this show has meant more than just it has been more above the surface, below the surface level. But for me, on those, I've only really thought surface level. But maybe you're onto something with that, probably. Moving along. Second, really our last question. What are the animals? What are they doing? What's their purpose? What do you think, Thomas? They keep teasing there's an animal in every episode, it seems like. And what's going on? Obviously, Sparky dies in the last episode. What do you think?
I don't know. Was this my question or your question? I think this was your question. Oh no. Okay, so yeah, I remember. Okay, I don't know what the effing purpose is, but these animals are acting very sus.
They are. They
All right.
are.
Okay, the Schwan. I'm sorry, I couldn't not dip into Billy Madison for a minute. Are you listening to me, Schwan? The first episode, there was no live animal. I don't believe.
Okay, yeah, because someone had said, I was listening to something where it's like, there's been an animal in every episode. I'm like, I only remember like the crane and the
bunny,
dog and the
stork, the dog, and those are the three.
And people are like, oh, it's Mephisto. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I just realized she technically there's that chicken or that turkey or whatever, right?
Yeah, that she turns into the eggs.
And she turns into the eggs. What came first, the chicken or the egg? That's what that's for. That's the one in episode 1. Anyways, back to the plot. Stop looking at me, Schwan. I need that sound clip from now on. And then also I'm gonna need Chris Farley going, that is correct. But I think that the animals are there to serve a purpose. I can't figure out what that purpose is. And it's also weird that she says, you can't tame this tiger. And then the kid's carrying a tiger tigers were everywhere in last episode, right?
Yes.
If you corner them, they will attack.
The direct about the tigers.
Yeah, I read that and I noticed it already. I didn't notice the chair, but I saw that he was carrying a tiger and someone else. There's another animal somewhere in there. I don't know what they are, but I think that the stork was potentially the string puller. The magic did not work on it, just like the magic does not work on the boys. I think the dog literally went and tried to electrocute itself. Like,
yeah, that was so weird.
I'm wondering if the dog was not. Yeah, and it's weird that they called him Sniffy and Sparky, which are not that far off from Scratchy. So, I think that the dog was definitely the string puller. If it's Mephisto, it makes sense that it wanted to die, right? Like,
yeah. I don't know. There's something weird with that. I can't figure it out.
Animals are very sus.
To it. Okay, final thing, wrapping up. Thomas, in 7 hours, this episode's going to be live. There's going to be a whole slew of answers given to us, a whole new set of questions to answer, to speculate about. We've speculated about this enough and theorized. What do we think is going to happen in this specific episode? You go first.
We find out more about Pietro and why. Like, we will find out about Pietro.
Okay.
I think there's no doubt about it. We find out who he really is. I don't think they're going to hold that one on. They're not going to hold that one too close to the chest. Because look at what we learned. Like, learning that, Wanda started it all was like the beginning of, that was the mystery. But now it's like, well, what else is going on? Because there's obviously more going on. Now that Pietro's in there, I don't think that we're going to it's not going to take very long for us to get some reveals on who he is.
Yes.
It's Halloween. I think Vision starts cracking. I think Vision tries to escape, and I think Vision does escape. You know that scene from one of the original trailers where all of a sudden she's in color and Vision is in grayscale?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm questioning whether some of this started because of Vision's mind. And Vision was gray because she couldn't actually colorize him yet. I think because I've seen some weird stuff, we might. They say that this is the episode that answers everything. Do we finally see inside Wanda's mind? That's what I hope. That's my hope for this episode.
Yeah.
Because we see inside Wanda's mind and we see what's actually going on. David, specific predictions.
I agree. We learn at least, I'm not going to say we learn everything about what Evan Peters is doing there, but we learn at least more and we'll get it early.
Yes.
And I have a suspicion we won't get the full story yet because I think this episode's going to be focused on Vision. I agreed earlier when you said everything in this show is going to fall back to Vision and he's going to be kind of the center point. And in a way, he's going to be, it's not Monica. He's going to be where the two worlds meet and where when the two worlds meet with Vision, shit's gonna go down. Like that's when things are really gonna start blowing up in Wanda's head in the outside world, because he, it's Vision. He died. There's a lot more mystery with him than Monica getting shot out, and she's still Monica, the X-ray stuff and all that. But Vision is gonna have some real consequences of leaving and being curious. And what does that mean that he's curious? How can he be curious? What's going on? Like, what is Vision? Like, I'm still in that in between where Vision is in between in some sense. But I think we're going to get a lot of Vision. And I do believe by the end of this episode specifically, we are going to get Sword readying up to infiltrate the Hex with that idea that they can use maybe tech from the 80s or whatever and bust through the Hex. I think by the end of this episode, because we know I forget if it was the director or the showrunner saying that in the last 3 episodes, which will be after this episode, episodes 7, 8, and 9, there is a lot more action and it'll be more MCU-like. And in my opinion, this will be the second to last episode of the sitcom-y WandaVision stuff, and the last 2 episodes will be almost just straight MCU version. But in this episode specifically, I think by the end of the episode, we're gearing up for that. We're gearing up for the Sword invasion on Westview, and I think that'll be the catalyst will be Vision escaping. And then it'll be, all right, Vision's out, let's get her. That's where I think it ends. And I think in between, we have a fun, campy beginning where we get more on Pietro, and we had a whole fun intro about, and it's Halloween, they're in their original suits, and that'll be awesome. And I think we're going to get some insights into Agnes too, a bit, but not the answers. We're not going to get Agnes full-on answers in this. I think we will get answers when it comes to Vision, though. And I think, honestly, go out on that limb, I think by the end of this episode, Vision could be done. Because I think Vision could be out of Westview, period. Because think about this. In the trailers and the marketing for the Modern Family sitcom set of WandaVision, we only see Wanda. We don't see Vision in any of that.
That's interesting that you say that, but I do think we see her wearing that same outfit and telling Vision, this is our home. And he says, then we'll fight for it.
That's true too. And I don't know where that is. I don't understand where that is. So that goes against my prediction, but I am just confused by that entirely.
If Vision ends up being real and then he's just like, nope, I like this world a lot better. Then he chooses to live in there with her. Oh shit.
I think point blank, I think by the end of this episode, Vision's gotten he's become aware. He tries to leave, he leaves, and Sword is readying a invasive attack onto Westview. And that is where I think this episode ends. And I cannot wait to find out tomorrow afternoon after so many people have already watched it. And I must stay off Twitter. Thomas will have seen it. He'll be texting me vague things like, oh my gosh. And then I'll just be jealous. But I can't wait to watch it. I hope you guys can't wait to. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This has been a very fun conversation. Thank you guys for sharing your thoughts and everything about WandaVision and where this episode and this whole series is going. Because there's so many questions that still need to be answered. We asked a few of them today.
We did. Before we move on, Terry McIver has a fan theory. What if there's a knock on the door and it's James Spader?
Oh my gosh.
Ultron in the flesh. Literally. He tries to kill Wanda, but Pietro runs and jumps into the line of fire and gets killed all over again. Dude.
That'd be brutal, Terry.
Right?
Brutal.
It fits with where I think this show is going. It's all about their grief. David, where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me at my name, David Thompson, on Facebook, at David J. Thompson on TikTok and Instagram. And you can find me at David Thompson with 2 ways in the David on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter. It's where I'm most active. It's where I enjoy using social media the most, which I must stay off tomorrow until I watch WandaVision, but I just love Twitter. And I don't just watch it. I don't just go on there for entertainment, news, it's sports and everything. I follow so many people, but follow me there. Thomas, how about you?
You can find me at linktree.com/TCROCHESTERACT. You'll be able to find my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff, my website, my IMDb page. as well as links to Lights, Thunder, Action and all of the places you can find us, as well as the shop, etc., etc. David, do you have anything to promote this upcoming?
Yeah. Guys, go check out thedirect.com. I'm writing articles. They're appearing on new Rockstars videos, which is really cool. Specifically, the one I wrote about the Luke Skywalker like cameo coming up, which is really awesome. It's pretty surreal seeing my article show up on a new Rockstars video because I've watched them for years. Obviously, they're very popular. If you guys haven't heard, they're a very popular YouTube channel about theorizing and all this. So anyway, go check out thedirect.com. Not just me, but everything we're writing on there. We have a whole slew of things when it comes to WandaVision, and we're keeping up with all of it. So check us out. Check me out there, thedirect.com. Go there and read up on the news. Thomas, what do you have?
Yes. I honestly don't have a damn thing to promote that I can think of off the top of my head. So instead, I'm going to play WandaVision's audio. Hopefully we don't get pulled off Facebook or YouTube, because if we do, it's just the wrap up of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I should have done this for a special live only thing, but here we go. Pull us apart. You're in my heart. Singing along, raising it up as we go along. See, just listen to the lyrics, bro.
Yeah.
And every day, we won't know which way to go, but we'll get through it together and decide.
I love how they made all this. It's so good.
Right? I love it. So there's no telling what's going to happen, man.
There really isn't.
Kevin Dukes, I see. What about your comments? I didn't post yours just because they might actually be spoilery. And I read them and I'm like, ooh, that's good. But I don't want to spoil other people on our show. So that's the only reason. If you are correct, which, who knows? Does anybody know if anything's correct anymore in terms of, am I even alive? Am I even real? I don't know where I am and I'm so scared. We will definitely bring them back next week on our Thursday show where we recap 6 and preview 7 because retail, bro. They're changing the schedules there. But thank you all for joining us. Thank you for commenting along. Thank you for joining us in our questions. Thank you for giving your questions, giving your theories, the ones that we did post, the ones that we don't want to post because they are spoilery. Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been episode 44 of Lights, Thunder, Action.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.